the guy. Hello, everybody. computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Oh, hi. How's it going? Happy 4th. My name is Colonel Joe Dixon.
Calm down. Hello, Raph. How are you?
Thanks for following, Raph. Wish you would have done it the last time you were here.
Back in my day, I used to get all the...
Back in my day, if you followed me, it was ride or die.
Calm down. She's from Turkey.
If you leave, you're banned from America. I don't know why. I'm sorry.
Fucking don't start bringing out Colonel Sanders.
I'm Colonel. It's the cowboy hat.
It's the cowboy hat. Charlie, come on.
Go on. Don't mind me, I forgot to... Racist, man. No, you want to see racist? No, I'm just
Don't
kidding.
you fucking dare! She is a sweetheart. You leave her alone.
She eats turkey in Turkey. She's a cannibal. She doesn't deserve our respect.
I would eat turkey in Turkey. What the fuck you mean? They probably have the best turkey in the world. How is everybody doing today? We're about to get started. We're starting really late, but we had to run errands. But this is also going to be a very short stream today. This is going to be very short. It's only going to be a few hours.
We like eat grease. We like eating grease too. So what Americans are known for.
He's actually, for once, he's eating a salad. Well, not for once. You eat salads quite.
Well, it has noodles and shrimp in it.
I thought Sunny couldn't have shrimp.
She can.
She can?
That's the best part.
Oh,
So for me. Happy 4th of July. Even though you live in Turkey, I expect you to celebrate the independence of America. Thank you.
Don't listen to him. You have this thing set
Does
on-
Turkey have an
on, right?
equivalence? Is there like an equivalence to 4th of July but for Turkey?
I have it set to that it's
Oh,
all the
okay.
way around that. They probably do. Can you educate us? Do you have an Independence Day?
Well,
I assume you do, because almost every country has some form of Independence Day.
I think. Does every country? I don't think that's true.
I'm pretty sure.
Not every country.
Canada's was July 1st. Now that I think about it, I didn't see shit about Canada celebrating Independence Day. And normally every year I see one.
Yeah, because
We're on stream.
Trump hates Canada. That's why. Back booth is right.
Oh, wait, where's the...
Hello.
Where is the other thing?
What other thing?
Other headset.
I don't know. Over there, maybe.
Oh, yeah, there's that broken one.
It should be there. Did it get buried? 29th of October. Okay, so Turkey's got one.
2 days before Halloween. It's not
Is it up there?
I don't think so. No, because we used it not too long ago.
Sometimes my connection is low. Duck the internet. I'm assuming you meant to say fuck the internet, and I totally get it. It's okay.
Bring this to the mock
Huh?
trial. Bring this to the mock trial.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll sneak it in. That'll go well. Here, come talk to them. I'll find it.
Yeah, you find it.
I will. I'll fucking find it, okay?
How's everybody? How we doing? Who else is in here? Bob, is that you? No, that's not Bob. That's Beth. Hello, Beth. Hello.
Also,
Welcome, welcome.
Andy's alternate personality.
This is Dandy. Oh yeah, that's right. Beth is Dandy's alternate personality. How you doing, Beth? Sometimes my connection is low.
I read that already.
Sorry.
I already responded.
He's on such a short temper.
on,
It's
keep up.
unbelievable. My hair is all wonky today. Do you want to know new Turkish word? Yes. Are you slowly gonna teach me? Are you slowly gonna teach me Turkish? I'll slowly learn Turkish. I'm a slow reader and a slow learner.
Actually,
You fucking lost it.
I think I did.
You did lose it. He lost our other headset, so that's wonderful. And I didn't bring mine. No, is it out there?
Oh, you know what? I bet you it is.
It probably is, because your fat ass doesn't bring it in here. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't call him a fat ass. That was rude. I apologize. I shouldn't called you a fat ass. I should have called him a dumbass. That's more up his alley. I'm currently in a tree watching Dandy try and fix a lawnmower. Beth is in a tree. You fucking tree hugger. That sounds like a slur. I'm so sorry. No, that's what I'd say to Braxton. It wasn't there yet.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying. Okay, here you go.
I'll say it. They love me.
No, please don't.
Can Dandy hear you right now? If so, can you tell him that we said hi and we miss him? And that we actually want to meet Dandy. I want to meet Dandy.
Did you get the fuck out of my chair?
I'm so used to being in that chair all the time.
Yeah, well, get unused to it. The weekend is my day.
It's not the weekend. It's still Friday.
It's
the weekend.
technically my weekend
The
because I
weekend
don't.
doesn't start on Friday until 5 o'clock. Then it's the weekend, because then everyone's off work.
Shit.
And guess what? I'm going to be at work while everyone's on fucking weekend. It's going to be great.
Where'd my music go? Oh, there it is.
Where is the... There it is.
Okay, we're getting situated. Everything.
Dude, that smells really good. I might have some before I go.
Hey, you want the rest?
Yeah, we're close enough, friends.
We're close enough. You can eat my stuff on camera. Oh no, yeah, you already read that already. You read that already.
Yes, Beth is currently in a tree, which is very funny.
All right, so let's go over what the plan is today. What? It's an American thing. Don't worry about it, okay? If you're close enough with your homies in America, you can eat each other out. I mean, eat each other's food.
This is really good.
It is really good. So, anyways, today, it's gonna be we're gonna be co-hosting today. It's gonna be Ryan and us together, which hardly ever happens. We've got some Wendigoon pulled up here. We're gonna watch some Wendigoon videos. Maybe play a game. Who knows? Who knows where it's gonna go today? And we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good old time. We're gonna be wrapping up a little early today. Probably only gonna do a 3-hour stream because we got some 4th of July plans.
And I have work at 4, which
And he has
sucks,
work.
but that's how life goes. I kind of like how heavy these are.
Sorry, I'm vibing right now. I got donuts. I just had a really good shrimp salad. I got my Monster Energy drink. I'm having a good time.
I'm controlling my impulses so bad right now.
Dandy shall never know we're here.
Dandy doesn't know.
So you have just admitted that you have multiple personalities inside of your brain.
Is that the lore for Beth and Dandy? Is that it's
Yeah,
the same
no,
person,
yeah.
with different personalities?
Dandy is just a schizophrenic.
I can see that.
That's why he's tried putting bleach in what is it? Try putting bleach in Chicken nuggets. Yeah, that's right. I got it.
When the fuck did he ever say that?
Dandy knows. Dandy knows what I'm talking about.
When did Dandy ever say that?
Dandy was manufacturing bleach-filled chicken nuggets.
Okay, don't say manufacturing because it sounds like he's about to distribute it. He was making chicken nuggets with bleach. He wasn't manufacturing
You never know.
it. No, because we don't want to out Dandy like that, and we know Dandy wouldn't do such a horrific thing. Even though
I
I'm
don't
sure
know,
he's
man.
got
Dandy's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Beth. Big question for you: is Dandy kind of crazy? I'm curious. He seems like a sweetheart, a really sweet guy, but he seems like he's a little.
Are you gonna get in a call or what?
I'm gonna slap that hat off of you at some point tonight. Just
No.
Yeah.
That's rude. How's everything sound, guys? It sound pretty good? And he failed because of me. The distributing. He failed at the distributing.
That's why we haven't seen him in a while. The FBI got him. That makes sense.
His cover-up was that he was doing something like nice for people.
You, or am I going on the channel?
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll call you.
See, that was so fast. I should mute myself.
Yeah, mute yourself.
There we go. Yeah, you muted yourself. I can just.
And then, you ready for this?
Oh my God!
I'll share your screen too.
We figured it out. And I can hear everything too.
Beth sabotaged his life's work. That makes sense.
Okay, I'm in.
You're in?
I'm in.
Are you in?
I'm in. Oh, I'm in there deep, man. You don't want to know how bit deep I am.
Shit. Wrong button.
They call me the Gutty Arranger. Good.
So, for those of you who don't know, for the newcomers like Raph, anytime you see a stream that says another day in the office, just know that that means it's going to be a chilled, laid back. We don't really have anything planned. We're just going to hang out, chat with you guys, watch some videos.
It's just a hangout session, you know?
Yeah.
Another day in the office.
It's just another day.
This is really comfortable.
This is the office.
I need to get more flannels like this. Maybe not this.
Just get
color.
fat,
No. I don't
like
want
me.
to. You know that's one of
And
my...
then you'll just live comfortably.
You know that's actually one of my fears, is to get fat. That's a fear of mine, is gaining weight.
See,
That's why I got
define fat. What is your version of fat?
what I was like 2 years ago.
That was fat?
2.5 years ago. Yeah.
I would say you were still kind of skinny then.
No. Here's the thing. I'm cushioned. You're cushioned. I'm like, everything is formed to my body, so when I have a shirt on, I don't look fat. But I take that shirt off, everything...
Everything just falls out.
And yeah, and I just also feel horrible. I just feel gross when I have that much weight, like that excess weight I had. Every time I weighed myself, it said I was like 199 or 195. I swear to God, I was more like 210 or 250.
I'm at my max.
My highest weight on a scale was 205. That is my highest weight.
I'm at my max. If I get fatter than this, just kill me. Just put me down. Put a bullet right in my brain. You know? So if I ever disappear, it's because I got more fat. Just so everyone knows.
How about this? I'll just cut you open and eat your fat, and then I'll seal you back up, and that way, you won't be fat anymore.
That's perfect. Actually, I think that'll work. I
That's
think
like healthy cannibalism.
That's actually, yeah. Unlike turkey eating turkeys,
Dude,
Turkish eating turkey.
leave her alone.
This is why.
This is why we don't have fans.
Well, no, I was gonna say-
You fucking roast them,
This-
and you make fun of them wherever they're from.
This is why the Ukrainian guy never comes back to our streams.
Oh yeah, we had a Ukrainian dude who
Yeah.
hasn't been back in like 4 months.
Raph,
I miss him.
it's
He
all
was-
good fun. It's all good fun.
You are? I know he is.
Fat?
Yes.
Racist?
No. Eh.
All the insults under the sun?
I think everyone is a little racist. We have our moments. It's like what did Shane Gillis say? It's like no one nowadays is, racist. It's just like you're not always hungry, but if a hamburger or a chicken cuts you off on the road, you're gonna get pretty fucking pissed right there. And
Yeah.
you might become racist for that moment, but that doesn't make you a racist.
That's true.
It's very true.
I'm like that, but every single second of every single day of the week. So
I'm trying to dig you out a hole. I need to grab the shovel from you and just tape your mouth shut. Stop talking.
they obviously.
If
know.
we ever go on a meeting or like
They
a
know
talk-
I'm
we're-
kidding.
We go on a talk show host, or they're gonna be like, "So can you explain this moment?" Yeah, I can. We were joking, but for some reason, he just likes to keep going and dig himself. He likes to be not degraded, but he likes to dig himself in a hole, and that's why he's so isolated. He likes the bottom of the pit.
I do like going too far.
Yeah, you do. You do that shit to me all the fucking
I
time.
think-
You
I-
rile me up. You string me up.
I think it's fun.
You're
Not just
such
for
an
you, but
asshole.
for everybody.
No, not for me. I don't find that fun. I don't like riling people up. Unless I don't like them, then I like riling them up. But I don't. There's not a whole lot of
It's
people
like
that I
it's kind of
don't
like testing the waters. Yeah, I want to see how far I can go with the person. Then when they get to a point where they're like, okay, you've gone too far. If they leave, then it's like, okay, then we were never meant to happen. But if they're like, hey, you've gone too far, but then they stick around, then it's like, okay, now I know where the limit is, and I'll constantly just write it right to the limit, and then I'll bring it right back down a little bit.
You do this shit. You do that shit with Braxton all the time.
Yeah.
Braxton comes over for like the first, I think, year and a half, even to this day. Braxton will come over and just hang out, and he will just throw like the most. Braxton's pretty. He loves dark humor, and he's one of those guys that he likes
Type shit.
making racist joke towards him. He finds it funny because then he'll make racist jokes towards you.
Ads already?
Taylor will just make a racist joke and Braxton will just look at him, laugh, and I'm like, this is why he doesn't come over that much anymore. But then lately he's been coming over a lot and hanging out a lot for the past few months. Everything looks really good. How does everything look, guys? Also, you don't have it on multi-stream. There we go. Everyone's on Twitch. Shit. Good.
He said
I
type
be-
shit.
I be in the algorithm crunching the numbers, yeah? Also, he told me about Monday. Good to go. Well, not good to go. I gotta test some stuff out.
We need to download the mods, which we haven't done yet.
He needs to download the mods and then see if it works, and I'll probably come over tomorrow or Sunday.
I think tomorrow's gonna be a work day. We're gonna work on some stuff tomorrow.
I work at 5 tomorrow, so I can come over earlier.
Yeah. I'll probably do a small stream tomorrow, but we also need to work on a lot of stuff.
Also, Luis, do you have the graphics card? I gotta run by and get it from you if you're still willing to have me use that.
Messing with the pack. Yeah, for everybody watching, stay tuned for Monday. We're gonna try to do a little fun creator collab stream.
We're gonna be collabing. Well, I guess I'm gonna be collabing with a bunch of other people, and I just learned about it like 20 minutes ago. I had no idea that was happening.
I want to be there, but I'll be at work. I
Yeah, I
gotta
think it's gonna be a lot of
put
fun.
on my. I gotta pay my big boy bills.
I haven't officially collabed with anyone ever. Even when I was trying to do YouTube, I was technically collabing
Was
with
there some girl
Rogers.
you collabed with? That was like a streamer. She had like 600.
Oh yeah, Queen. I collabed with her one time.
Hey, Rye.
Hey, Sierra. Hey,
Where's
girl.
my hey?
How you going?
I'm here too.
You like my my drip? I got the Star Spangled Banners on my chest.
So say hey, bitch.
Stop.
I probably deserve it.
Oh hi.
Oh,
It's like hi, Rye.
hi.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
All right.
All right, so today we are going to be watching a Windigoon video about really creepy Ryan collabed with the Closet Lady. That's true. That's a
Technically, I
good
did,
point.
Yes.
Yeah. So today we're going to be watching a Windigoon video. We're going to be looking at really terrifying ocean mysteries. Going to be an hour long.
The bloop's probably in this.
I would imagine the bloop is probably your outfit is wildin' right now.
Mine or his? I know me. When people see me wear more than just like one color, people are like, "What, is he okay?" I never wear more.
Dude,
than
the
one
first
color.
time you walked in to my home with like a blue shirt,
and like white sweats.
Sonny and I looked at each other and went, "Are you good?"
Yeah, because I only wear like black and dark colors. I walked in with all white and all like really light blue long sleeve shirt and a white sweats, and they just were stunned. They were like, "Oh my god, we can see you."
Yeah.
Or finally, for once.
All right, I'm ready to get into this. You ready to get into this?
I'm ready to get into this. I got it. Ryan, what pants you got with this combo? I got the Levi jeans.
Thank you. Whoa. Listen, pal.
Look at those things.
You need to calm down.
They're
You're,
nice.
you're,
These are
you're,
actually very
you're all
comfortable.
crotch right now. Your
They are
crotch
very-
is so close to my. Nope. Your crotch is so close to my
They're
face.
very
I will
comfortable.
punch you in the
seam
dick.
right here too.
I will punch you in the dick.
The seam is very good. It's very well built.
Don't
And the
don't do
seam
this.
all
Don't
the
do
way
this. I'm
down
gonna
over
embarrass you
here,
on stream.
And then down the leg is
I'm gonna
great.
embarrass you on stream.
11 out of 10.
Don't do this.
Dude, I felt
This
you were
is
about to just.
this is a
punch
day of America. There's no gay shit allowed in America. That's not true. I'm kidding. I'm taking this too far. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm all for man-on-man action. All right, let's start this.
Shut the fuck up! Just stop talking.
Sorry.
My God.
Another day, another win for the OG.
Shut up!
Pack it up, pal. Don't worry, Taylor here
God.
is America.
Brokeback Mountain vibes for real.
Okay, I'm
Honey,
proud.
welcome back to the channel and happy Halloween. And I'll be honest,
It's
for
4th of July,
Halloween,
but
I was
okay.
kind of struggling to come up with what concept I wanted to do a video
Go-
on.
go-
Because, you know,
skip
I
ahead.
could talk about,
Skip
like,
ahead.
scary movies or demons
Oh,
or
no.
whatever, but that's just,
I'm
like,
not gonna skip ahead.
me any
That's
other
rude.
day of the year. So I decided for Halloween,
By
why
the way-
not talk about the one thing that
Unfull screen.
truly
This is Wendigoon. If you guys like this type of video, go check him out. Wendigoon's really awesome. He makes really awesome videos.
Honestly,
Really
I
scary
love
videos.
all of his videos.
I'm starting to get into Meat Canyon. Not Meat Canyon, but Meat, whatever that guy's name is. Him and him have a podcast. together.
Mr. Big Meat.
Yes, Mr. Big Papa Meat. That's what it is.
deeply terrifies me, and that is the ocean. See, I suffer
Me too,
from
pal.
immense thalassophobia,
Me
and
too.
it's not like a specific fear
Oh, that's
of
right, you have a
sharks
fear of the ocean.
or water or swimming or
Oh,
anything
you have
like
a fear
that.
of-
It is the infinite depths of the ocean itself.
This
There
is
have
the
been
exact
countless
fear I have.
stories throughout history.
I am horrified of the
the
ocean.
largest grave on Earth, taking in people and refusing to give them back. For humans, the majority of our fear revolves around the idea of the fear of the unknown, and the ocean itself has proved to be the one unknowable consequence of this world. There
What's
is
the one
such a
thing that
horrific
terrifies
nature
you
to the
most that
fact
could
that
be in
it
the
just
ocean?
exists.
The Loch Ness Monster,
That's not that big.
Cthulhu,
That's
and the Leviathan.
a
I
Leviathan.
firmly believe that the Leviathan is fucking real. I believe that, like,
Not the Leviathan, but just something like
an
classification of the Leviathan.
insanely massive snake-like
Happy 4th.
creature under the ocean is
Barney said, "Nah, bro, the Titanic is scary as fuck." Yeah, that's what Ocean Gate said.
Listen.
Ocean Gate.
To get on a giant ass boat and go out into the ocean, you have to be clinically insane. Like those people,
So like a cruise ship.
yes, arguably less insane. But the people who go out and go crab fishing or whatever, what's that show? What's the show?
Oh, Dangerous Catch.
There's
Dangerous Catch.
Yeah, something like that. Where they're on the boats and they're in like the giant ripping water, like huge waves, and they're just going up like 90-degree fucking angles and then going down. I would simply just die. I would just die. I'd be like, you know what? I'm ready to die. I'm ready to go. No, the Leviathan, there is 100% no way it's not real.
Something that
Love the
massive.
ocean though. I'd swim in it. Well, you'd be dumb, Sarah.
I haven't swam in the ocean.
The ocean will... Okay, you know what? By the end of this video, you tell me you still feel the same way. Okay? Okay? Like, have you seen the Google Earth images of the giant orb under the ocean and it's, like, moving? And it's, like, enough... It's enough to fill up, like, a quarter of Texas? It's, like, that big?
Is that a school of fish?
No, it's, like, a big-ass structure thing that's, like, moving in the water.
No, I haven't seen that.
I would need to
At
look it
all.
up.
I've never seen that.
Would you rather spend $1 million to go to the deepest part of the ocean, or $1 million to go to space? I'd rather spend that money to go to space.
Yeah.
I am
He likes
much more
space.
fascinated with space than I am with the ocean. I know this channel.
It's also easier to go to space than it is to go to our deepest part of our ocean.
Yes, it's so cool. I want to see it in person.
It also takes less time.
The Leviathan alive is. Oh my god!
Is that motherfucker awake? So what is he eating? Is like the whole eating a brine shrimp, or is he like hibernating right now and just sleeping?
I don't know. It's probably something crazy, like he's feeding off the Earth's core or something fucked up. I don't know.
He eats 3 beluga blue whales every single day.
Yeah. I don't know. There are crazy things in the ocean, dude. I have no idea.
Inhales them.
That it's almost mesmerizing.
Slut
And to
in a
prove
brothel.
that today, I'm going to tell a few stories of ocean mysteries that not only terrify me, but I think get across
3
the
whales
point
is
of why
easy
the
work.
ocean
Yeah, I'm sure it
itself
is for you,
so
Barney.
mysterious. At least that's what I'm going to start doing. This may get into a rant of me just talking about krakens and ocean monsters, but we'll see how it goes. And through these stories of ghost ships, sea monsters, and the other unexplainable, I hope that maybe today we can take a look at what is, in my opinion, the scariest thing on Earth.
Okay. Hold on. Let's. Never mind. Taylor didn't deep dive this, and therefore the Leviathan is not real. And he saw one TikTok creepypasta.
That's why when he said that he wants to get Subnautica 2 and play co-op, I was surprised because that game freaks him out.
I'll play it with someone. For it being multiplayer, I'll do it because it'll make good content. But anyways, okay, real quick. This is what I'm talking about. I don't know how well. So if you guys can see this image right here, this was taken over the span of like 3 months or some shit. On Google Maps, someone was tracking this, and you can see like a path being formed, and it's just this big fucking ball underneath the ocean. I don't know if this is real or not, but I saw it, and I'm like, no, fuck that. Water dick? What? Are you saying that's what this is? This is a water dick?
Watergate water dick?
It might be a water dick. I haven't seen too many of those. Dude, that's what the Kraken was.
What?
The Kraken is just the water's dick.
Is that why it's always wet?
Yeah. And that's why it's got the teeth in the middle. You know, we say you little one-eyed monster. That's what a Kraken is.
I never called it a one-eyed monster.
Well, that's what you call your dick.
No, I didn't. His name's Joe.
That's weird.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Joe Weird.
All right. Joe Mama. What?
Dick.
Brother Discoverer.
Kraken is like octopus, aren't he?
Vertal water vortexes. Do y'all know oarfish lore? I do not know oarfish lore. Kraken is like octopus, aren't he? It's
Similar.
Yeah. No, is it a squid or an octopus? No, Kraken is like a big squid.
Yeah.
Not an octopus.
It's like a giant squid.
It's a big squid.
Well, there's also older depictions that describe it as like a giant octopus.
Satellite images suck dick at capturing the ocean because the very high images are based off of depth perception images.
Right.
Like squid, yes. Yes, it is like a big squid. Until that motherfucker comes out of the water, I'm gonna stay more scared of the government and space rocks.
I agree with you on that one. I don't blame you on that one, Luis. Look it up. It's cool as fuck. What up? Do y'all
I'm gonna
know-
look it up right now.
Oh, fish lore. Fish
In the
lore.
1860s, and this wasn't a small ship either. It was 103 feet long and 25 feet wide. The ship was originally called the Amazon before it was in a wreck and salvaged and reconverted into the Mary Celeste.
Sarah, fuck you.
So if you believe in bad karma and juju, this
Oh,
ship is already off
nope.
to a bad start.
I hate
Next
that.
year, the ship was bought by a man named Winchester, who hired a captain.
I'm sorry, Wendigoon. I really want to get to his video, but holy shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Sarah, you can fuck right off with that shit. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Have you seen the size of the largest squid they ever caught or they ever found?
Oarfish. No.
It's not as big as you would think it would be. They call it the Kraken. Actually, I think they caught it right outside like the Seattle Peninsula area.
Talking about like the real life giant Kraken thing they found?
Yes and no. They call it's technically a Kraken because it's the largest squid they've ever caught, but it's not the size of like a ship.
It looks like my English teacher. Damn, we need to have a
Oh,
talk about your English
God.
teacher.
Your English teacher needs to get facial reconstruction, reconstructed surgery. Sorry,
Okay, we need to watch this.
fucking sugar is kicking in
by
now.
the name of Benjamin Spooner Briggs, and no, that was his real name. Captain Briggs was to take the ship on its maiden voyage from New York City to Genoa, Italy. Briggs himself was a seasoned sailor, as you can imagine with a name like that, and handpicked a crew of not only his close friends, but other trained professionals. After stopping in New York, the ship loaded up on 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol, or in other words, pretty much ethanol. Like, it's still alcohol, but you wouldn't use it to drink. Captain Briggs also brought his wife and young daughter along, which was a thing that I guess people did back then. So between him, his family, and the crew, there was a total of 10 people aboard the Mary Celeste.
Luis, I'm not even
And on
going to try to
November
pronounce
5th,
that.
They set sail across the Atlantic to Italy. That was the last time that any of the crew was ever seen again. 8 days after
Anyways,
the
just
Mary
wanted
Celeste
to
set
stop
sail,
in, say
the
hi,
Di
happy
Grazia,
4th,
which had
gotta
left
go,
from
see y'all
another
later.
nearby
Yeah,
port,
see you later
was
tonight.
basically
Have
on
fun.
the track
rodeo.
and going
Have
to a
good
similar
time at
location.
rodeo.
It was then on December 4th that the Di Grazia spotted a ship simply floating in the middle of the ocean. This is a weird thing to happen, so the captain of the Di Grazia tried to make contact with the floating ship. Upon coming up to this ship, the captain noticed two really alarming things. For one, the sails seemed to be in a sort of in-between state, as in some of them were furled out and some of them were folded up, kind of implying that it was at a transition period, as well as the much more alarming fact that there was nobody on board, which is probably a bad thing. This ship that had been found completely abandoned was the Mary Celeste. It was found in this state 600 miles off the coast of Gibraltar, which, while closer to Europe than the original starting point for sure, was still basically the middle of open ocean. The captain of the Di Grazia sent two of his men to go
Anything
search the Mary
40
Celeste,
miles,
to which this
anything 100 miles out after shore is middle of the ocean. I don't care what anyone says.
Okay, let me put this in perspective for you. Let's say this is the 1700s,
Okay.
right? If you're getting on a ship and you're sailing from like China to New York, okay, or not China, but like England, UK to New York, right? And let's say you've been on this voyage for 6 months, and you see a ship roll up, and no one's on it, and nothing is displaced, and it looks like they were in the middle of doing something. What do you do? How do you feel in that moment?
I question what kind of supernatural power took them and what the hell happened.
Like, I would be mortified.
There's so many stories of that happening too.
Which is insane. How does that happen?
You've heard about the sail ship that disappeared for like 100 years and then they found it back in the 80s or 90s?
Yeah. But my thing is that, like, how is there nothing on the ship, right? Because it's like, typically if something like that happens, the ship, good chance it's going to sink, right? Because something went horribly wrong. Why does everyone just disappear? And it just goes. Like, the only logical thing that I could say...
They staged a walkout because the ship captain was a piece of shit.
Well, where's the captain?
He walked out with him.
What do you mean? That's not how that works.
I don't know. I'm just throwing suggestions out there. I don't fucking
It's
know.
just, that's crazy to me. That's crazy.
It's
Probably
like
got the
every
plague.
single time they got if someone got sick from the plague, they just threw them overboard. And then the last person got the plague and they were like, well, I guess I gotta
But
go
if
off
you're
and
the
go
last
overboard.
person, right?
You might
If
as
it
well-
were me, I would be like, okay, maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope I live.
What?
I would at least die on the ship because I'm like, I'm going to at least try to get to where I need to go.
At least the captain would stay with the ship.
1700s, okay? You'd probably die on that boat before the ship rolled up.
Yeah, that's where I got the idea.
Probably got the plague.
Said about the plague.
I'm assuming as people died, they let them off to sea. They
Right.
believed in getting set free in the sea. It was an old head thing. I
It's
guess
kinda
that's
like
true.
It's like an old belief.
That's
Kinda like Davy Jones and Davy Jones' locker.
Okay, maybe. Okay, I guess that makes sense.
What? You could think
Maybe.
about
Oh, okay. So then, yeah. I could see if everyone's got infected and then it eventually got to the captain just threw himself overboard.
Right.
And just
But that's what I'm saying is that like if the captain was the captain goes down with the ship unless the captain was one of the first people or one of the people that got infected and wasn't the last person that got infected.
Okay, all right. I believe it. I buy it.
is the site that they came across. Upon getting on deck, they noticed that
I'm gonna change my
several
hat.
aspects of the ship were in a sort of
It's hurting
roughened
my ear.
condition. To start
So,
off, several
use,
of the
plural.
ropes were tied to the sides of the ship, and the ropes themselves dangling over in the water, implying that someone had untied something and quickly tossed the rope into the water behind them. Two of the covers to the lower parts of the ship were wide open. This is traditionally a bad thing to
Wait,
do,
I have an
especially in
idea.
long periods, because if there's any rain or dew, it will get down to the lower
Hats
parts of the
don't
ship, as
look
well as a
good
large
on me at
device that
all.
holds the compass and other measurement devices was cracked on its glass
do you guys think?
and
Sarah,
pushed
what do you
over
think?
out of its place.
Have you ever seen me
which
in a
normally
hat?
wouldn't be a big deal, but these are massive pieces of metal, and it's not like someone would just pick up a 300-pound block and set it over.
Why
for
do
no
you
reason.
look
There
less
was also
American than
something
me now?
known as a sounding rod laying on the deck. A sounding
You-
rod
you
is
need-
basically
you
a
need the
makeshift
hat.
device that's
I
used
have
to
the
determine
chains, you need
water
the hat.
depth. within
It
the ship.
hurts my
Or in other words,
ears.
if you feel that there's water within your ship, you can use a sounding rod to see how bad the situation is.
Maybe all
and it was
people
just
is
lying
black
there on
and
the
you
floor
saw
of
the
deck.
ship.
We'll come back to that one later. Perhaps most likely, one of the lifeboats was missing. Not only that, but the rope that was in the place.
All right,
the
I like
lifeboat was
Raph.
located
Raph, you can
was
stay.
not untied, but cut. See, when you're out in the middle of the ocean, especially as a sailor,
Oh, it's one of
you've only
those
got a
ships.
limited amount of
No. If
Oh,
that
it's one of the
happened-
ones where you let them get to run around the ship, huh?
No, if that happened, this is what happened. Okay, they were sailing. It was all white people, and then a ship full of black people came by, and then all of those people hopped onto that ship, captured all of them, and then just took that ship. And then they were like, we're gonna make a lot more money off of this ship. That was funny. Fuck you. That was funny.
I'm laughing. I don't want to laugh though.
Been there, done that. They're probably all slaves. They're probably all slaves. Yeah, that's what happened.
rope, so you wouldn't cut it unless
America!
you were in a really big hurry. Upon further investigation in the ship, within the cabin they found the captain's log. Captain Briggs logged everything from the hours.
Uh-oh.
There was a very intense and descriptive description of everything that happened within the boat up until 8 a.m. on November 25th.
Wonder if that was a
because of this, we
requirement
can
for
safely
captains to
assume
do,
that whatever happened
is
to
to
the Mary
log
Celeste
every hour.
happened between
They
8
always
and
wrote it
9
like a
a.m.
diary.
on November 25th.
They were always
that would
in
mean
there.
that this
Which
event
makes
occurred
sense.
9 days before its discovery.
So then
They
when
should
something
use
like
a
this
security
happens,
camera.
that the captain
when something like
logged
this happens,
at
they can
8
just
a.m.
look at
on
the book.
November 25th. That would also place it 400 miles away from wherever this thing happened. And one of the strangest things of this entire mystery is absolutely everything was in its place. Everyone's personal supplies, all of the food rations, and the alcohol barrels were all in their respectable locations as if nothing had happened.
Okay. So then let's take this whole plague theory further. Okay. So if they got the plague, right, and we're assuming they just started throwing themselves overboard, shit would have been moved, stuff would have been used, like rations would have been used. They would have tried to take care of the person, right? Like wet rags, making sure they're not sick or whatever.
There'd be stuff left on the ground.
So why had nothing had been moved?
Are they saying that nothing had been moved from the storage, or nothing had been moved at all, as far as food
So
and rations?
the way he's saying it is like everything was just dropped. Like what everyone was doing, everything just was dropped, and then that was it. And then they just never did anything again.
They got under a trance of a siren.
But are we gonna assume that that's? We need to figure out the most likely possibility.
I think the most likely possibility is
Like the whole
even
crew
a
just,
plague.
it's almost like they all were just in the middle of doing their jobs, and then all of a sudden drop, turn, jump off the boat. That's weird.
Sirens,
But what proof do we have that sirens were ever a thing?
diaries. I don't fucking know.
Because Captain-
It makes more sense.
Captain Billy Bob said it one time.
It makes more sense. Captain Billy Bob told me a story of a siren. He said it was true.
I've been focused on the devil cat on that guy's whiteboard. Davy Jones got
Dude,
their
same.
ass. Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I know there was a huge belief of sirens years ago, and some people believe them now.
I also do kind of believe in like mermaids, or at least maybe not mermaid, but like a humanoid looking fish.
That's not actually human.
Yeah, because there has been a lot of reports of that, and because the ocean is so vast and huge.
They're not that big either.
I
so it'd
believe
be
it.
really difficult to find.
Yeah.
And there's probably not that many if there are.
Yeah. They probably tried to burn the witch at the stake, but the witch got to them first. You know what? That seems more likely.
They got a curse before they left.
Probably.
The only thing that could not be found was the captain's personal navigation equipment. In the very bottom hold of the ship, there was about 3.5 feet of water. Now, you may be thinking that that sounds like a really bad thing and the ship
pretty
is sinking. That's actually a pretty normal amount. See, back when boats were made of, like wood, they weren't exactly sealed up all the time, and it wasn't uncommon for water to seep in. Also, the deck itself wasn't exactly airtight either, so if there was something like rain, all of that rain would go down into the bottom of the boat. There were pumps in place in order to get water out of the bottom whenever that happened, and the 3.5 feet indicate that the water
God
had
damn it, Raph.
Maybe the sailor is also the American police, and they saw the Black Sea. They crossed into the Black Sea, and they all just dipped. They all just jumped off the ship.
So this is the origin.
I need to make
pump
Raph
for
a
some
mod.
time. That's the purpose of the sounding rod I
What?
made earlier.
I'm gonna
because
make
you
Raph
can
a
eyeball
mod.
the water in the bottom of the boat, and it's a very thin line between we
No,
need to pump it in,
Luis,
everyone
really?
needs to leave right now. The DeGradia,
Are
which
you being
is the
serious?
ship that found the
That
Mary
got
Celeste,
you?
decided
I
to
don't know
bring
if I
it
can say
into
it.
port in order to get the salvage
COVID.
earnings.
I'll
See,
just-
the way
it
it
doesn't
used to
matter.
work
Fuck it.
is if you found
you
salvage
dick.
or some
I got-
sunken
I got-
treasure or something along that line,
Not worried,
and you were
but
to bring it
felt
into
bad for a
port
minute.
and sell
I'm
it back
taking
to
it.
either a state government or a private
Where's Cameron?
ownership or whatever, whoever
see.
bought the supplies would pay you a handsome finder's fee for recovering the wreckage. So the captain of the DeGradia, seeing a literal empty floating ship full of potential money, decided to bring it into port. However, because he was trying to get money for it, there was a sort of trial held to determine if the ship was gained by moral means, basically confirming that the captain wasn't trying to commit some elaborate form of insurance fraud. Overseeing this trial was a man by the name of Attorney General Flood. And I have to mention this because it's too funny not to. In research for this, there was one historian who said, and I quote, "He was a man whose arrogance and pomposity were inversely proportional to his IQ." Pomposity. That is a fantastic word. I'm keeping it. During the course of this trial, they went through
Pomposity.
a whole slew of different theories of what happened to the crew of the ship. See, the most crucial piece of evidence, and really the only piece of evidence that anyone has, is the fact that one of the lifeboat tethers was cut, implying that with whatever happened, someone had an opportunity to try to get away. Not only that, but it had to be a pretty desperate situation if they cut the ropes in order to get off in what's pretty much the middle of the ocean. One of the initial theories that got tossed around was the idea of a giant storm that came through and wrecked the ship to a point that they thought it was sinking, and everyone
I mean, look, I do genuinely believe that there are like giant creatures in our ocean. Maybe not now, but I take into consideration giganticism is a real thing.
Yeah.
So like, what is it? If an animal doesn't have anything hunting it, or if it's like in a place where it's like relatively unaffected by nature, it'll just grow to massive sizes. Isn't that what giganticism is? I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Well, humans can get gigantism. It's a thing that you're born with.
Well, there's also it's like a saying, a term for something in nature. I know giganticism is also a disorder, but there's also like another one. Okay, anyways, whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying, right? Definitely back then, there were so many reports of like, or recordings of ginormous creatures in the ocean, to where it gets to a point to where it's like, there's no way people are seeing ginormous creatures out in the ocean.
So here's my argument, my counter argument to that. All right. So what is ginormous to them? Because ginormous to us nowadays in the 21st century is not the same ginormous that a person in the 18, 17, 16, 1500s would see. If a fucking person saw that, if someone from 16 or 1700s saw like New York or Shanghai or the Dubai Tower, that would blow their mind for how tall they are. They would say that's reaching the heavens.
Well, they say it's enough to take out a ship. So judging if it's enough to take out a ship, I would say something the size of a blue whale or bigger. So if it's like a blue
a
whale,
great white shark could take out a ship.
not those ships.
If they really wanted to.
No.
100-foot ship.
I know.
Okay,
I disagree.
100 feet ships back then were ginormous. But a 100-foot ship now is like a yacht or like a really big yacht, like Jeff
No,
Bezos.
haven't you
bought.
seen like those old school 1700s pirate ships? Those are fucking massive.
They're not as big as. Like,
I mean,
the
we're not talking
They're not as
Titanic.
they're not as big as
No.
Titanic.
1700.
1700 military time? No, not military time.
That is
Size.
a massive.
Okay, yeah, but look at size. Size comparison. Size comparison. You're right. Ginormousism for women is a lot different than what it was back then. What do you mean? What? You're right. Ginormousism for women is a lot different than what it is when it was back then. Size comparison on stream is crazy.
We're not comparing sizes, guys. Calm down. Calm down.
See, like a freight, yeah, like a cargo ship.
Yeah,
is
no, I'm not
1,000
talking. I'm
feet,
not
if
talking
more.
this big. Yeah, no, these are huge.
Okay,
No, no,
so
no.
that's what I'm talking about. Is ginormous is completely different back then than what we see ginormous now.
I'm talking compared to a fish, like a big sea creature.
Okay.
right? If a big sea creature
That's
was big
not what I
enough
want to do.
to take out one of, let's say like this ship, that is fucking huge.
What's a good size comparison to
scroll up.
nowadays?
Oh, click on this one. No. Here, let me see.
You do it. You do it
We'll do this to size comparison
to modern ships.
to modern.
We're figuring this out, guys. We're gonna learn. We're educating ourselves today.
I like these glasses, but they're kind of hard to see out of.
I can see the Star Spangled Banners with them. Oh my God, it's America everywhere I look.
Man, I cannot find a fucking.
There is no good size comparison.
nothing to like
at all.
modern times. Here, let's see. Let's look at this.
This video.
Shush. Come on. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
we're gonna
you're
look at
talking
this.
about like you're not talking about because that's a warship. That's like an
No.
those aren't very.
I'm talking
common.
about this ship right here. This
That's- okay.
this is like your basic Joe Schmo
Yes,
ship. Okay.
a blue whale's twice the size of that.
But what I'm saying, okay. Imagine that there's a squid,
Yes.
a kraken-sized squid. Squids don't get that big.
Okay.
But if it was that big and it destroys that ship, that's fucking insane.
19 meters, 62 feet. That is the average ship length. That first one is the average ship length that people had. Those two are warships. That's like a capital ship. That's
the
not a
kind of
transport ship.
That is totally a transport ship. This one?
Yes, Chinese
This-
treasure
this is-
ship.
Not this one. This one. This is totally
First-rate ship. It has a double-decker cannon. That's a fucking warship.
But that's
Not a transport
They were-
ship.
they
They don't
were-
transport. They transport ammunition and men. That's like something that Davy Jones whips out out of
What
the
is bro
fucking
looking at
water.
off stream?
That's Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark is huge. Noah's Ark is massive. By the way,
fictional ship.
Yes, fictional ship.
Well, clearly they don't come from
And then see, that's a nuclear icebreaker. That's like a research ship. That's what they used to go to Antarctica. That's a fucking Typhoon submarine. That's a nuclear-powered submarine, which is, I think, the largest submarine in the world and to ever exist. And then you got cruise liners or super yachts.
Okay.
Yeah. See, that's a super yacht.
My point is, I understand we have
Okay.
bigger ships now. My point is, even if a sea creature was big enough to take out
Give me
this ship on the end,
Give me the shit. I'm gonna show you.
I'm saying that is a substantially huge fucking animal.
Okay, largest squid found. Let's look at this. That's the largest squid they've ever found, right? Okay, no, hold on. Hold the fucking phone. Here's some more pictures. These are some really big squids, all
But
right?
they could have been bigger back then, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so these are the squids. The largest squid reported that we found
Yeah, I know
is
that
like
one.
that
one's
one,
real,
okay?
yeah.
Compare these. What's the largest squid? What's the size? Largest squid found size. Let's go to here. It is reported that 43 meters in length. It is almost as big. It is 20 feet shorter than this. than this. So yes, you're right. They are probably huge, but it's not 100. It's not like 100
My
foot
point.
squid.
My point in saying all of this is that back then, I do think that the fish could have been way bigger. Because the further back you go, the closer to like animals being fucking massive we are. And so what if there was left over? Like literally they talk about fucking dragons in the Bible. What if a dragon?
That's not what you were implying earlier.
No,
You were
that's not-
implying
I'm
that at
just
all.
saying
You were saying that it's like, oh, there's like something like 400 feet big, but I'm saying that the size that we say now is not as big as the size that we have now is different than what the size that they
It's
had then.
feasible. It's feasible. It's feasible to
Okay,
assume.
you should have started it like that though. Like that makes more sense. Yes, you're right. The further back you go, the larger animals are because there was more oxygen in the world and there was more room in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
We drifted so far into this that I honestly started losing track of my argument.
And remember, there were more lifeboats, so the idea that everyone hopped on one and hurriedly
Odds in
Ads
2
in 2
minutes,
minutes,
they
everyone.
thought something was
Brace.
happening.
Make sure to tell me how long those ads are, because if it's anywhere more than a minute, I need to adjust some more stuff. Because I'm pretty sure I made them. I tried to make them as short as possible.
We made it to where we have no choice. Once you become affiliated on Twitch, you have to play at least 60 or 1 minute of ads every hour.
Yeah.
And so that's the mandatory. So
But I put on
basically,
those.
we don't have any ads.
Gave us four 2-minute ads?
No, it didn't, Luis. No, it didn't. You're right.
Like 6 minutes worth of ads?
You're
or
lying.
you mean
You're joking.
4 ads in 2 minutes?
It fucking better not have.
You
I'll
probably-
be pissed if it did.
You probably mean 4. You copy?
Yeah. See, anytime Luis says something, I always be like, he's lying. There's no way he's lying. There's no way he's telling the truth. Then this is why I don't believe you half the shit that you put in the chat, Luis, and then why I'm nervous.
I'll
when
tell you in
put
a
stuff.
sec. Okay, you don't even know.
right away
This
for
kid.
the winds of the
This
storm
guy.
were threatening to capsize the boat.
You know what I'm
However,
gonna do?
an investigator who was sent to look at the ship found several open
You know what I'm gonna
vials
do?
of both ink and oil setting up on tables. Which,
You know what
as
I'm
you
gonna
can
do?
imagine, if it was a massive
What?
storm that was threatening to sink the boat
about your
and the waves
penis?
were tossing it around, those vials wouldn't just be sitting there upright.
I'm gonna
and
go get
having
a
been
salad.
Spilled. And also, all of the
Go.
alcohol
'Cause
barrels
that
and
sounds
personal
really good.
blogging
You
would
go, go,
fly
go.
all over the place if that was the case. But like
That
I
sounds
said,
really good,
everything
because
was
that's
in
how- that's
perfect
how it
order. That Attorney General Flood that I mentioned earlier really had some dumb ideas about this. He was convinced that there was foul play involved in some way just for eventually this new captain to bring the boat in for insurance fraud, or technically salvage fraud, but pretty much same thing. But this captain is a seasoned captain who's been working for years and makes good money, and Captain Briggs was also a seasoned captain who was making good money doing what he's doing. So it doesn't make sense for them to ruin their whole careers and livelihoods just to make a quick buck. That didn't stop the Attorney General from getting some weird evidence. Like, for example, there was a sheathed sword found underneath Captain
I
Briggs'
love that
bed.
back in the
While which,
1700s,
inspecting the sword,
it-
there was
like,
something
they were
that he
doing the
said
same
could
shit
have
we're
been
doing
blood.
now.
As well as on the deck of the ship, there was other stuff
Insurance
that he
fraud was
said
even a
could
thing
have been
then.
blood. And if it sounds like I'm being vague with those descriptions, that's because he was also being vague with those descriptions.
Just one
His
30-second one.
theory
Okay,
was
great,
that the
great.
crew
That's what we're
members
looking
got
for.
really, really drunk, killed the captain and his family, and then took the one lifeboat and just paddled out to sea. Now, this doesn't make sense for a lot of reasons. For one of his points of evidence
Two 15-second
was that
ones. Okay, that's
whenever
good, that's
those
good.
two men I mentioned earlier, the
Motherfucker,
first ones who
Velveeta
got
ad.
on board the Mary Celeste, whenever those
We
two
only
guys
give you
went
the best
down to
ads,
the
guys.
deck, they said they could smell
Only give you the
alcohol.
best.
Because if you'll remember, the ship was shipping alcohol. However, this Attorney General took that to mean that the guys were drunk. And I guess totally just ignored the over 1,000 barrels of ethanol that were stored in the ship, even though there are absolutely no signs of a struggle or a murder or anything of the like. This Attorney General was so adamant about this theory that whenever the owner of the ship, Winchester, came over to Europe in order to, get his ship back, the Attorney General immediately began accusing him of how he would be so evil as to allow such a crew of rapscallions to kill a good captain and his family. To which I imagine Winchester was like, what? And the two got into several heated arguments in court over this before it was eventually decided that no one had any idea what happened to the ship.
I'd be such a
Also,
good pirate.
remember
Yeah,
the
you
whole
would,
blood on
Luis.
the
You would
sword
be a
thing
great
and
pirate.
blood on the deck thing? Someone analyzed that and it wasn't blood, it was like rust and dirt. And by the time the trial was over, the Attorney General paid the captain of the DeGradia like a third of what it should have been, because the Attorney General was still poopy that, you know, they didn't stab each other and it was like a bloody fight or whatever. But that doesn't answer the question of what happened to the crew of the Mary Celeste. Well, there were several people who still believed the insurance scam story, or the idea that Briggs had put this whole thing together in order to get money off the ship, but again, it was way less than he was making as a captain anyway. And also, that still doesn't change the idea that why would he take not only his crew but his wife and young daughter out to open ocean?
Luis,
in
I'm
order to
convinced
make a
you
few
do that
bucks?
now.
Another popular theory.
I would
at
not
the
be
time
shocked
was
if you got a
pirates,
fake
because
arm with a
pirates
gun in
were
it.
in fact a problem in the 1800s. However, as I mentioned earlier, there was no signs of a struggle or anything likewise, and also if it was pirates, it would be weird for pirates to kidnap people, not take anything on the ship, including one of the 1,000 barrels of alcohol, and then never hold any of that crew they kidnapped for ransom. Because, you know, pirates are in it for the money
have a
and the
bazooka
gold
in my
and all that
pocket.
stuff.
Gotta
So
stay
for them
strapped.
to just kidnap people and then seemingly not do anything with them doesn't make a lot of sense. Also, that doesn't explain the lifeboat thing. People are still so
Dog, I
questioning
hate
over this
people.
whole story that there was one theory that a historian did in the 20s where he said that perhaps because Captain Briggs was religious, he decided to become a fanatic and murdered everyone, threw them overboard.
But then
before
where's all the
committing
evidence?
suicide and
No!
somehow not leaving any trace of this. I should
Hey!
also mention that historian apologized to the
Don't ever
family
do that to
after
me
he
again.
did
Why?
it, because yeah, that may be a little.
I don't know.
eh.
It's
And that's
felt
coming
like
from the guy who's
coming
about
out.
to say
Fine, I
Kraken
won't.
did it.
So
Two of the
where-
more popular
where's
theories
all the
were either
evidence of a
either
struggle?
water spout or a
Where are the
In
dead?
other
Where are the
words,
dead
like
people?
A small tornado on the
No
ocean
blood?
or an earthquake, because that may cause enough turbulence and enough water being thrown around that the ship
This
may
shrimp
begin
crab
to sink.
salad is really
However,
good.
if it
It's
was
so
something like
good.
a water spout that was big enough that it threatened to sink the ship, there would have been, for one, a lot more water in the bottom of the ship, and also everything wouldn't have been as neatly packed as it was. And the same thing can be said about the sea quake. If it was an
Slightly straw
earthquake
pushed them
that
off.
this
Everything
seasoned
would have moved
captain
around.
and his entire season crew thought
Yep.
was at
But it
risk
would look
of drowning them
destroyed if
all,
it was a
then why was
storm.
everything in such a perfect condition? Also,
Yeah.
the whole lifeboat thing doesn't make sense for either of those. Like, sure, that may make sense for why they were in such a hurry and everyone piled into one and cut the ropes, but if you're in a tornado and, like, as a seasoned captain, you're not going to be like,
Yeah,
quick,
they are.
everyone
They're
get onto the much
huge.
smaller boat in the
Boats
middle
are
of the
fucking
ocean.
strong, dog.
Don't get your
Well,
stuff.
yeah,
There's
but
no
not-
time.
well,
One
like what
theory
he's saying,
that I
everything would
think
be
holds
moved
more
around.
weight than most of them is that of the explosion. See, denatured alcohol or ethanol has a problem with producing vapors that have a tendency to blow up. And in the captain's log that I mentioned earlier, he had mentioned throughout the trip that they just heard random explosions coming from beneath the deck, because I guess that's just a thing that happens. So perhaps one day there was a rather large explosion, and that may explain why both of the
All
lower
of
deck
a sudden,
doors
we
were
don't
open
know
whenever
how
the
to
two men
organize
came on
shit.
board,
Okay, pal.
implying that they were trying to air out the bottom cargo hold. And in 2005, the Channel 5 broadcasting station actually recreated this theory.
Do not
and it
know
turns out
how
that
this
even
dude-
if there's a very large vapor
I don't know how this dude
Oh.
sits in front of a camera and talks about boats for an hour straight.
Oh,
He talks
I
about
just
more
thought-
stuff than just boats. What?
ethanol poisoning.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what he's talking about right now. Maybe, well,
Like
yeah, but
hallucinating and not thinking right.
I would believe that. That is a feasible thing also. But another feasible thing, Cthulhu rose from the ocean and brainwashed them.
That
That's also possible.
I don't think that's as
That's
I
reasonable.
don't think that's as possible.
vapor
No.
explosion and a very large fireball, it wouldn't destroy any of the interior. That was the
Because
issue
they didn't
everyone
eat
had with the
oranges
explosion
for no
theory. Because whenever they walked into the bottom deck, everything was fine, and you could probably tell if it, blew up. But these vapor explosions are
I
just a
eat
quick
ethanol for
fireball, and
breakfast.
there's no lasting
Barney,
damage.
get checked.
However, as I mentioned, the captain had logged in his book that this had been happening over the course of the entire journey. And again, none of these guys were rookies. So I can't imagine a scenario in which a slightly bigger one of these fireballs go off and they're all like, we
Oh,
should
that
paddle
explains,
into
Barney.
open ocean
That makes
just
sense.
to be safe. So that still leads into the mystery of what happened to the Mary Celeste. And I think I've been respectful and reverent enough of the dead that I can now say it was the Kraken. The Kraken definitely did it. I didn't mention
I
this
get this
detail
guy.
earlier
I get
because
this
it was
guy.
too
I'm
dumb
right
at
there
the
with you,
time.
brother.
But one of the notes that the Attorney General said in his entire case is that the front of the ship there were several scratch marks. These weren't like enough to puncture into the boat or anything, but they were enough to be noticeable.
gotta
The
talk about
Attorney
missiles.
General's theory was that after the crew got drunk and murdered the entire family, they swam around to the front of the ship and cut it in order to make people think that it ran aground in the middle of the ocean. However, that's lame. Wouldn't it be a lot cooler if a kraken swam up there and it was latched onto the front, and that's why the scratch marks are there? And then while everyone's on deck, it just starts grabbing people.
Listen, I'm talking the kraken that I believe is real is the size that we see in Pirates of the Caribbean. That I firmly believe a kraken that big
I believe that.
existed or currently exists in the ocean.
Here's the thing about that. I do believe that too. I believe today it might still be down there. I do believe at some point it definitely lived. However, I don't think. I think it was extremely rare for it to come to the surface, and even more rare for it to actually be seen. Just because, not kraken, squids are. They like to be in really deep waters where high pressure water is. That's what their body is built for, and they like the darkness. That's what they thrive in. So something that big, it would probably hurt it to come to the surface often. So if it came to the surface, it would either be on accident or it was specifically chasing something that brought it to the surface to get away.
There is for sure a set of circumstances that I totally believe a giant squid kraken coming up and destroying a boat.
You've seen, is it beluga whales or blue whales that get into fights with squids, that get hunted by squids?
I think it's beluga whales.
Okay, have you seen like the battle marks on beluga whales who
Yeah.
escape?
Yeah.
And like the suction cups are the size of people's faces.
Yeah.
And the suction cups are
They're dangerous. It's fun.
suction cups show the actual size of a squid can be because they have to get a certain size to get a certain size cup.
All the bigger sea creatures it ate are all dead due to the higher water temps killing them out. Finding a girl that will shut her mouth on command is rarer than finding the kraken. Oh my god. Barney, calm down. Calm down, Barney. Don't lash out now. See, I believe that now, Luis, but I'm talking, like, back then...
Is this what our fucking community is going to turn into?
It's all the American comments. It's because back then that wasn't as much of an issue as it is now. So I don't know. I don't know.
These giant tentacles.
America.
And then a couple people try to get away by hopping on a lifeboat and cutting it real quick before they too get sucked underwater or float out to sea and die of the elements, whichever's worse. And you know the best part about that theory is you can't tell me I'm wrong because cameras didn't exist yet and neither did I.
They were
So we're
abducted.
moving on. I think one of the reasons that the Mary Celeste is such a well-known story and so infamous too among people like me who are absolutely terrified of
next
the
one?
ocean is because it kind of embodies a lot of the things that make me afraid of it in the first place. It is absolutely unexplainable, and
I
your
was thinking about
imagination
skipping
is
just
pretty
to
much
the
the
end,
deciding
the final
factor
one.
in whatever could have happened to these people. Because just like with the ocean itself, if we're taking a scenario that is so beyond our minds of anything that we can know or understand, then our deepest fears might as well be the truth. And if you're thinking, well, that was in the 1800s and people just used to die back then, which, to be fair, people did just up and die for no reason back then allow me to turn your attention to the KAZ 2. I'm going to call it KAZ, whatever. Now, the KAZ 2 was admittedly shorter than the Mary Celeste, boasting a 32-foot span.
Okay, yeah, this is another disappearance.
This is really short though. How long is it? It's like
5 minutes. Okay.
However,
we'll
it was
listen to
still a yacht-class vessel and definitely capable of sailing in the ocean. On April 15th in 2007, a 3-man crew decided to go out on a recreational expedition aboard the KAZ 2. They set out from Queensland, Australia, and from everything that I've read of the family members of the people who were on the boat, it seems that they were just going to spend a few days going from different docks and sailing about at sea. That was until on April 18th, a helicopter spotted the boat and noticed that there didn't seem to be anyone on it. After some reports and investigations, eventually on April 20th, the boat was found and boarded about 88 miles off the coast of Australia. And similar to the Mary Celeste, whenever they got onto the boat, the entire crew was missing. Now, notably, the situation aboard the Cause 2 was noticeably more unnerving.
I was
There
wondering what he was
food
drinking
laid out
before
on
making the
plates
video.
along with silverware,
Huh?
implying that everyone
Who?
was just about to sit down
Me?
to eat.
Or
The laptop was open and
Wendigoon
still
here?
on, implying that someone had just been using it. Even the engine was running. Everything pointed towards the idea of
Me?
everyone simply just hiding as
Oh,
if
sorry.
the boat was being used only moments ago.
Probably
Furthermore,
not.
all the life jackets were still hung up and none of them being used. The GPS was still working, along with all distress functions that the boat had, although none of them had been activated. Even more so, on the front of the boat, the small life raft as well as the anchor were still tied up and not being used, meaning that it seemed no one tried to stop the boat or make an escape.
Blue guy.
The one thing that was
Yeah, probably
amiss on
ethanol.
the boat is
I'd
that
say.
one of the sails were very badly shredded, as if something
Yeah.
had cut through them and torn them until they were useless. The police were able to use the GPS that was on the
Probably
boat
blue
in
ethanol.
order to backtrack
Yeah.
the path that the Cause 2 took. And then on the GPS path, you can see the boat go out from port on the first day of their journey, slow down all at once, and then just start drifting until it was eventually found. As if the boat was just sailing out, and then for some reason, the engine went into neutral.
That is just being one of one of the people who saw that trajectory. I would get scared. I'd be like, "What the fuck?" That's how I feel when we were researching that plane that went missing, that big passenger plane.
Oh, from like 12 years ago? Blue
Yeah.
Airlines?
Yeah, they just went missing. And when you see the flight path, you see it going on like a normal flight, and then all of a sudden it takes like a crazy turnaround, and then just dips like hundreds of feet, and then just disappears. It's like, I don't know, that to me, seeing that is just so illogical and insane. I'd just be like, how the fuck? Which I still firmly believe that that plane disappeared from aliens. Just saying.
And those three guys just disappeared off the face of the earth. Besides from the sail, the only one thing that, doesn't really count as a miss was the fact that the lure from the fishing pole was hooked into one of the side ropes off the side of the ship, which also paints another picture of what was happening when this all went down. They were out fishing. There was a pair of sunglasses found setting on one of the front chairs on the boat, and there was a coffee mug on the back deck just sitting on the table. Again, the
So
whole
you know what
picture-
that indicates? They never hit any rough waters.
Yeah.
That means it was still waters. There was nothing rocked the boat for those sunglasses to fall off.
Oh,
What
yeah.
also freaks me out is that they said it within like the first day, they were good. So it was like a day and a half, and then something happened. They disappeared.
And the coffee would still be sitting there perfectly in the cup.
Is that what they said?
That's what he just said. He said there was still coffee in the cup.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
There was a pair of sunglasses found setting on one of the front chairs on the boat, and there was a coffee mug on the back deck just sitting on a table. Again, the whole
Oh,
picture
coffee
implies that
mug.
everyone
Okay,
was
I thought you
about
said
to
it was
eat,
coffee.
they were out fishing, they were bathing in the sun, and then just disappeared. Now, unlike the Mary Celeste, this is a modern investigation.
Also, let me
so
just
there
say-
had to be a modern...
Australia is fucking terrifying. On land and everything around it. Everything on land wants to kill humans and are very, very easily to be able to do it. And everything around the water wants to also kill humans.
I want to go to Australia.
I do too, but holy shit.
I'd be down. Dude,
I-
I want to get bit by that spider that like gives you a boner and then you die. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
I'm pretty sure.
That's a
that's in
spider?
Australia. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. Hold on.
There's no way there's a spider that gives you free Viagra doses and then kills you. That's no.
No, like it gives you. From what I remember, is that it gives you an erection, and the erection is like so incredibly hard that it hurts, and then you just die.
Because your body is so turned on by this bite. It's like, you're about to have an amazing 5 minutes before I pass, so let's get this over with.
I'm going to be worried about the images that are about to pop up. on my screen.
God. Yeah, that's probably good. All right, Spider. Why don't you not do images, but just do...
Oh no, not AI mode. No.
The Brazilian wandering spider, not going to try to pronounce that, is known to cause a prolonged painful erection as one of the symptoms of its bite. The venom of this spider contains a peptide TX2-6 that increases nitric oxide production, which is a key component in the process of achieving an erection. Researchers are studying this venom as a potential treatment for erectile dysfunction.
So essentially, they're trying to use it for Viagra.
That's insane.
It's
It
also
doesn't say
known
it
as
kills you,
It's also known as the banana spider.
but it doesn't say it kills you. It just says it gives you an erection, but it can kill you.
It's deadly.
So
it is
probably
deadly for sure.
probably enough dose it will kill you. Potential treatments, no. Not a permanent condition, no. How it works: the TX2-6 works by increasing the levels of. Okay, no, that's not what it's. The venom spider's venom contains a TX, which has been found to induce. Okay, yes, you guys are saying the exact same thing.
Well, yeah, it's AI. Anyways, yeah, that's that. Yeah.
The
Okay.
proceeding of how this all went out because
Cool.
3 people.
I like
just
spiders. I want to go
disappeared
to
and
Australia,
not
so
do
I
anything
can
about
take
it.
rare
So at
spiders
the final
freely.
investigation where they went into the whole story of
Well,
what
take-
probably
like
happened.
spiders?
Let's all go
The
to
coroner's
Australia.
report, which it sounds weird for a coroner to
That's
give a
where we have
report with
everyone
no
meet us.
bodies,
Yeah,
but I
it's
digress.
Australia.
In the coroner's report for what he proposes might have happened, it sounds like a slapstick comedy. Like his story was that one of the guys got his hook stuck on that rope on the side that I mentioned earlier, and when he bends down to pick it up, he just falls in the water, to which the second guy says, "Don't worry, buddy, I'll come get you," and he jumps off the boat, but he forgot to turn the engine off, so the third guy puts the engine in neutral, and then he undoes the sail, but the sail swings all the way around the boat and smacks him and throws him off the side. So his idea was in the span of 30 seconds, all three...
It's like Three Stooges.
That's actually a very likely possibility. Who's the really famous guy? He says the dumbest or the simplest option typically is the most likely one. Who's
I don't know who said
I'm
that.
saying
but
that
I know
wrong,
I've
but-
heard that before.
but yeah, it wouldn't shock me if that's actually what happened.
Is it Jordan Peterson?
No, it's like a famous philosopher or something like that, I think. Yes, tarantula prices here are sky high.
There's
Raph, what are you doing with tarantulas? Stop it. Stop
there-
fucking with tarantulas. You
There's
crazy.
a whole market for tarantulas that are increasing. What the fuck? I didn't know that.
Don't have no
I'm
tarantula.
learning so much about Turkey.
of them were so incompetent.
There's a black
that they
market of
managed to, like,
tarantulas
three-stooge their
and
way into the
anacondas.
ocean. But as far as official reports go, that's all that we got. But despite that, as
I
well
like 'em.
as
Well, stop.
large-scale
Let's
searches
stop liking 'em.
along the coast of Australia,
Like a dog,
no
like a
evidence
normal
was ever
person.
found. And what's so shocking about this in particular is you imagine that someone who's taken every precaution between the GPS and the radio equipment and all of that
All right,
would
skip towards
not
the end.
have the
Let's
capabilities
listen
like
to
the
this
Flying
tirade.
Dutchman, old legends of ghost ships that would pass you. And then on deck there would be the souls of sailors who have died who asked you to give a message to their loved ones back at home. Isn't that just horrific in like the best way? Or the fact
Yes.
that every old world nation had pictures of giant sea serpents drawn off the map with the idea that if you go too far off the map there will be monsters? Or the idea that every religion, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, all of it, have some legend of a giant leviathan that lurks beneath the waters?
Okay, this is what makes me believe that that's like a real thing, or it was a real thing, or a form of a real thing. Like when you're talking about religion, right? No matter how you feel about religion, you cannot disagree that if you see giant events across every single religion, you have to come to a conclusion that the possibility of that actually happening is very high, right?
It's different belief systems, different cultures around the world, and a lot of times they didn't even have any type of communications with one another.
Yeah, so like the flood, like the big giant flood, right?
Every single religion has a flood myth. Yes.
So you have to come to the conclusion that that happened, right? And there's a lot of evidence in the real world that a flood of some kind happened, right? They've talked about giants, they've talked about leviathans, they've talked about like dragons and shit, and that's like across the board. So obviously, some form of that had to have been real back then.
Right.
It had to have, right? And when they talk about the Leviathan, they say it's like fully out of the ocean, its head goes into the sky. Like super like to the clouds.
That's in the Bible.
There's something about it. I would need to look like the actual verse up, but it's basically they say it's like extremely huge, like insanely huge, like skyscraper, like the length of an
See,
entire
that's when I
skyscraper.
think of a Leviathan or a Kraken. That's what I think of. Is
Yeah.
like a skyscraper.
So it's just like, but then you've got that in almost every single other religion, some form of that exact thing. So it's like they didn't just come out of nowhere. If every single religion unanimously agrees that this was a thing, I have to believe it.
If it walks like a duck, it squawks like a duck.
It's probably
Probably
a
a duck.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, and then you take into account the dinosaurs were a thing, right? We find evidence of dinosaurs.
The giant sloth.
Yeah.
The giant bear that our ancestors had to fucking fight to get
Yeah.
to the area of North America.
Dire wolves.
Dire
Those were
wolves.
massive. And it was obviously real. We just fucking created them.
Granted,
What-
dire wolves aren't as big as people believe. Like, they're not as big as they are in Game of Thrones. I think they're a little bit bigger than actual wolves, but they're not by
They're
much.
like lion size. Like huge.
about lion
So
size.
anyways, so it's like you
Eh.
take into account all of that shit. Obviously, some form of it was real. We just took the DNA from an old dire wolf, put it into a wolf, and basically made one.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's going to be smaller because yeah. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. My point is, there are ways to figure out if that shit is real. Taking into account everything we know now, applying it to back then, logically, it makes sense that was a thing.
Right.
And so, who's to say there isn't one now? Luis made good points where the environment has changed a lot. I
Yes.
agree, but there's also so much of the ocean that we have not found. What if there's a pocket of an ocean where it's been unchanged for like hundreds of thousands of years? You know what I mean?
Like an area that we haven't touched that's been able to just continue
Yeah.
thriving. Yeah, that's basically Siberia and the ocean.
Yeah.
Fucking nobody lives in Siberia.
I was wondering if Madame Demetrius asked you to worship her and leave your religion, would you accept? Yes. Without any question. I'd say yeah. I'd be like, you do whatever you want.
At first, you'd be like, no, I'm not sure. And you'd be like, are you sure?
I mean, that's really random. I don't know where that question came from. But yes, the answer is 100% yes. She could kill me. I'm cool with that. 86% of Earth's species hasn't been discovered yet. 86% of Earth's species
All right, pull
hasn't
this
been
up.
discovered yet.
Short-faced bears.
Barney, explain to me that statistic. I don't think that makes sense. How would we know that 86% of Earth's species hasn't been discovered yet if we haven't discovered them?
Look at...
Right? 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 What do you mean?
There are animals that have gone extinct that we will never learn about.
Yeah.
Ever. And there are animals that are alive right now that will
do you
go
want to know
extinct
about?
that we will never learn about. Short-faced bear. Just short-faced bear. So just so you guys know, our ancestors who traveled from, what we are told, traveled across the frozen bridge land from Russia, the Russian areas to Alaska, and then down through the Pacific Northwest, and then that's how we came to the United States, the United States area, stuff like that, right? This
2,200 pounds?
This is a
Holy
fucking
shit.
short-faced bear. This is what our ancestors had to face. Look at the fucking size comparison. Y'all ready for this shit? Look at that motherfucker.
Oh my gosh.
That's a short-faced bear. Your ancestors had to face this asshole. And they hunted humans.
Fuck.
They liked hunting humans.
If I saw that, I'd just be like, yeah.
You
cut the
thought a
show.
grizzly bear was fast? You thought a grizzly bear was scary?
South American giant short-faced bear?
South American,
Holy
North American.
shit.
They went all the way up to like the Canadian peninsula and areas. Yeah.
Hear me out. I did hear you out, and I said yes.
Yeah, dude,
Not
no.
sure, but it's got something to do with the history of the atmosphere composition.
Look at
specifically
giant
the
sloth.
modules produced by organic life. Okay, so maybe they just saw data. Data probably told them that there's more to find.
Fucking giant sloths were a thing too. They were 20 feet tall.
That's crazy.
Oh, it gets better. Let's look at this. Oh, what was it? Shit, I just forgot it.
See, so taking into account all of this shit, you're telling me that you don't believe that there's a fucking possibility that we had a squid the size of a ship? Look at all this! this. Look at all this evidence. You're literally helping prove
And the
my
ocean,
case.
the ocean is easier to support things that are bigger because of the water.
Yeah. And
So I just completely.
you just proved me right.
I just disproved my point completely.
Yeah.
But no, not necessarily. No, yes, you are right.
Because-
but,
okay.
but still, like the size comparison of that back then to now is completely different.
Okay,
But
I agree
yes,
with that. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. Okay, so yes, I agree. There was probably something massive that was in the ocean that did encounter people.
Okay, but then you got to think about it this way.
But then it would still be here today. Wouldn't
But
you
it
think?
might be, and we just don't know. Because you've got to think, the ocean is so incredibly deep, and there are so many caverns. Like, there was a theory I came across for the Loch Ness Monster, right?
Right.
Where the Loch Ness Monster, there's like a portion of Loch Ness or something like that, where it's like deep enough to where this species of like dinosaur or whatever could have gone down and hid and been safe during the meteor hit.
The cat, yeah.
Yeah,
the cat-
where there was like a very substantial theory that these sea dinosaurs went down into this cavern and hid while the Earth was going through all the changes, right?
Yeah.
So take into account that we have not been able to go deep enough to really learn more about the ocean, who's to say they're not just fucking hiding out somewhere?
And specifically talking about Loch Ness, Loch Ness is known for having by the way, the Loch Ness River, whatever it is fucking huge. I don't think people realize how big it actually
Loch
is.
Ness is massive.
It's massive. It's miles and miles deep inland, and it also has hundreds, if not thousands, of catacombs underwater that
Or-
like intersect each other that are huge.
Even let's assume this.
Oh, maybe not catacombs, caves. There's giant caves underneath Loch Ness.
Let's assume that this theory is true. Let's assume that there's some crazy ass shit in Antarctica, which is believable because the conditions are so harsh there that we can't really look there, right? What if there is some sort of pocket in Antarctica
Okay.
where shit is just completely preserved, like from the dinosaur era?
Boom! What's up, Dandy? Sorry. Every time Dandy shows up, I get excited. Hello, Dandy. Welcome.
Rifle in hand. Who did you kill? You just shot someone.
Is Beth still in a fucking tree?
Danny,
She said she was in a tree earlier.
Who'd
like
you
an hour
murder?
ago.
See, so it's just like, and then the government is so sketchy and weird about Antarctica. Why? What if there is this shit in Antarctica?
Even if we did get nope, she's still here. Beth falls from the tree. That's why the viewership went down one and then came back up. She fell and accidentally logged off.
Daddy just killed Beth. All right, confirmed. That's
Okay,
that's
there's a whole lore
confirmed.
going on, guys. Scurries
Scurries away.
Dandy raises shovel, screams, "Get back here!"
Get out of there, you damn bitch! Okay. Anyways, all right. We'll keep going.
Okay, yes, Barney, I saw what you saw about we did bring back one extinct animal, and that was the direwolf. Yes, you are right. We were just talking about that.
Shoots
and
Beth
it's
with
like
bazooka in my
it's
pocket.
not one for one of a direwolf. It's a mix between a wolf and they used a wolf with direwolf DNA to bring back the direwolf. So it's not the same size. It's a little bit. I think it's a little bit bigger than an actual wolf, but it's not the same size as a direwolf.
Dude, I could
But
do.
it could also, if the direwolf DNA is greater and more than the normal wolf DNA, which would be very difficult to do, if they reproduce within, I think, probably like 4 or 5 generations, it could overlap that and get bigger.
Look,
I think.
I could do.
That's my thought process. I don't know if that's how it actually works.
We could do a whole stream just talking about how fucking insane it is that we brought back a direwolf. I could talk about that for hours.
It's crazy.
Like, the implications of that is insane. Like if you take into account that and then you add AI on top of that, we literally have the technology to woolly mammoths. We have the technology to bring back extinct animals. We have the technology to manipulate human DNA to make human-animal hybrids. That's literally something they're trying to fucking do in China right now. Like, we can literally do that right now. That's literally happening.
I don't think we can do it. No, stop. Let me finish it. Let me finish what I was going to say. I think we've been able to do human hybrids for a while. just not successfully.
But now we have the tools to make that process perfect.
Is that whole thing with the? Have you heard about the whole? Completely off topic, by the way. Sorry. Have you heard about the whole thing with like using light to destroy cancer cells?
Yeah.
Is
It's
that
like
true?
violet light or something.
Is that real, or is that true, or is that just something that's surfing?
I don't know.
That's going
I
around?
haven't done much research into that.
You should play Far Cry Primal. We had that. I had that a long time
I'm down.
ago.
I'm down. That's a good
Long
one.
time ago. Genetically creating a species with intellect is unethical because you are intentionally making a species capable of intellectual and physical suffering.
I agree.
Taylor is
And-
like completely against fucking with nature.
I'm not completely against it, okay? There are some things that I understand, and then there are some things that I don't, okay? Like fucking with our weather system, I feel like should be completely wrong. I feel like that shouldn't be allowed because I gotta think about how to say this. This isn't a matter of belief. This is just a matter of
Environmental.
shit happened for a reason. Our system is so perfect that it is perfect to a T, where we should not mess with the system because we don't know what consequences we're going to have down the line from messing with that system, right? And it is a fact that we purposefully mess with our weather system, right?
Cloud seeding is
Yeah.
just one way.
Yeah, and I think that should be not allowed. We need to figure out how to change our systems to better impact the natural systems that have already been here, if that makes sense, right?
Rather than trying to change the systems for us.
And I do think that we need to innovate and we do need to get better as a species. I think technology is important. I think that making progress is important. But then we start dabbling in things that I feel like, okay, we really need to take a step back, really consider all possibilities of this. Like AI, for instance, right? I don't think AI should have ever been public, in the public domain. I feel like AI should have been reserved for science and like stuff in the government, I guess, even though I know the government's going to abuse it because it's just what the government does. However, I don't think it should have been in the people's hands because 5 years down the line, we're going to have sentient robots. It is going to happen. It will happen. I have no doubt in my mind that it will not happen. And I don't think that these people who are just focusing on like profits and making money and like all these businesses that are looking into it, like they're not really considering the full scope of this because it sounds outrageous when you say it because it's not normal. It's not something you think about, right? But I don't know if you guys ever seen iRobot with Will Smith. Like that being a real possibility is so insanely close to reality that I think people just think it's ridiculous because they just think about the movies and stuff. But like it's gonna happen, right? And we're not too far away from it. What does that mean for us as a species? That is going like nobody thinks about that shit because it just seems ridiculous. But if you look at it right now, it's not. These AI programs, they talk to each other. They figure shit out. They're thinking, right? There was a movie called Geostorm. They made a giant series of satellites. And yeah, there is.
We
Watch it.
watched it actually. I think it was what 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
We watched it.
It's awful.
It's a
Awful movie.
fucking horrible movie.
It's stable with
I hated it.
catastrophic storms, but it gets hacked in order to... Yeah. You see, so it's like that kind of shit, though it was a horrible movie. But it's like that kind of shit is possible, right? Or it will be more possible as the years go on. And it's like, that's why I think you shouldn't mess with those kind of things, because it could be catastrophic.
Yeah.
And so, I also believe that messing with like human DNA is like a massive no-no. That should be...
So here, you want to know my argument
No,
with
no.
that?
What?
If someone I don't think messing with human DNA. I not messing with human DNA. I think customizing human DNA is completely wrong. You shouldn't do that. But there are benefits of being able to, like, let's say, for an example, you have a baby in the womb that's being born, right? And we're able to go inside of it and see, okay, in the future it has like, because basically, as far as I'm aware, if I remember right, messing with by the body and the chemistry of the body is like coding on a computer.
Yeah.
There's codings in the DNA. If we're able to go inside the coding of those DNAs and be like, I want my kid to have blue eyes, I want my kid to have blonde hair, I want my kid to have like this type of fucking jawline, that's wrong. I don't think that should be allowed. But if you're able to go inside the DNA and say, okay, so we can see that down the road they have, with this cell, they have a higher chance of having like epileptic seizures, they have a higher chance of developing cerebral palsy, or they have a higher chance of developing a severe allergy to something that could hinder their life. I think those things should be okay to be able to go in and take it out and remove those in DNA. That is, I believe, the right way to be able to use those type of technologies and that type of techniques. It would be awesome if I could go into my DNA and just be like, remove my common allergies. Like, those would be great. But going in and like customizing your own kid as a character, no. Which will become a thing in probably 100 years. Billionaires will be able to spend like $50 million to be like, I want my kid to look exactly like this.
That's wrong.
That's fucked up.
Wrong.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
But if you can go in and fix a kid, a person that might have something that would cause them tremendous pain or issues for the rest of their life or further down their life, that should be totally okay with. And that should be something that I think a lot of people, especially if it's a genetic thing, because genetics play a huge part on your life and you have no control over it.
So taking all of that and then like applying to AI, like I agree with that kind of shit, like with AI, where it's like AI is useful is good for some things, right? Is good for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's good to help businesses and good for all that stuff. But it's like, everyone's so focused on fucking money, they're not thinking about the bigger picture, is what I feel like. And that's the part that scares me, and that's why I'm always just like, I really don't know if we should be messing with this. Bro's gonna make a real life character creator. That's happening now.
Yeah.
It's like really happening.
People are actually dabbling in that and trying to figure it out.
And the direwolf thing is just proof of that. The direwolf thing is that's proof of concept.
And
that's proof that we can do it.
With anything, and I always say this, with anything that is new that comes with scientific discoveries, no matter what it is, fucking AI is a great example for it. There is always someone, basically anything new that changes. That's a new big thing that changes everyone's life, right? That thing that is the future. That's where our future is going to head to. There's always, every time, there's always someone that comes in and uses it for the wrong one for greedy purposes.
Yeah.
That is part of the human growth. That is part of society growth. And we don't learn about it until years later, and then we correct it. That is just how things go. Because someone comes in, gets an early start in it, and gets all the benefits by fucking everybody else over.
I want to read what Danny said. Danny said, when man stands in the face of our accomplishments, when we have spat on God's work, we shall face God's wrath. And
Yeah.
I think that that's true. Like, in regardless of what you believe in, right? Basically what that is just saying is that when you mess with the system, there will be consequences. Like, even if you don't want to take it from a religious perspective, take it from, if you're messing with the system, there will be consequences, right? And so there's this quote, the quote from Jurassic Park has never been so legit right now, is they were so busy focusing on if they could, they never stopped to think if they should. That, I think about that line all the time. All of the time. And so, yeah. Realistically, that would happen if we make first contact with extraterrestrials. Would we try and capture and experiment on it? Or would we try to make peace with them? Dude, that is we're going down a rabbit hole right now.
Here's my take on it. If it was the government, then yes, they'd probably capture and try to experiment on them and see what they can learn from it. If it was the common person, we would probably try to befriend them and try to help. Obviously, I think most of us, even me, even if I said I don't, I would be scared shitless at first because I don't even know if I could touch the thing. But I think as humans, a lot of us have this moral compass of we need to help someone when they're in trouble. Not every single person is like that, but most people are like that. When you see someone in distress and is struggling or is in a really bad spot that they might not be able to get out of by themselves, we have this moral obligation to help them, and that expands towards animals. Like fucking, you see people all the time who rescue birds who have a broken wing, and then they form a bond and they fly off, but then they come back. Or like people who treat wild animals right, and then they recognize them. They're like, "Oh, hey, you saved me. I want to show you my appreciation. Here's a sea shell."
I think about it this way. Most of the people who are compassionate and just they just work, they just focus on their own stuff, they're not really causing any issues. That's the majority of people. Mm-hmm. But then when you see bad stuff on the news, like you see a serial killer or someone else who does really bad, horrible things to someone else and all that stuff, those are the minority. But we see them more often because what they do is just so, like, it's so bad that it kind of gets bumped up and it's shown to everybody.
Yeah, and it gets thrown into this type of like, oh, a lot of people are like this. Oh, this is a bit. You're seeing it so much that you're getting the idea of a lot of people act like this.
When
a lot
really
of people
it's
do these things,
not
so
like
it's
that.
Not.
Most people are just trying to live their lives and just go one step at a time.
Yeah.
I think it would depend on the strength of the... Oh, wait, no. But realistically, if the aliens were able to reach Earth, their technology would be far beyond what we are capable of, meaning the military would have minimal ability to capture them. Yeah, I think they're working with our government, actually. But that's kooky talk. That is for a whole other thing. So let's finish this video, and then once we're done with this, we'll go back and chat a bit more about this kind of stuff. But yeah, no, Ryan and I, we've got opinions on aliens. All right.
I don't know if I want to expose myself.
I've missed so much while cleaning and drinking. Sierra. Yeah, no, trust me. We went down a deep rabbit hole.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's keep this going.
Or legends like the Kraken. Don't we think it's weird that for literally hundreds of years, every single civilization had stories of this giant octopus thing that would attack ships and then kill sailors and wreck the ship? And we were all collectively like, haha, weren't those guys idiots? And then, like 30 years ago, we found colossal squids that are like the size of 4 school buses. And we're like, oh, look, they are real. But aren't those stories stupid and fake? Haha, they definitely didn't kill people. In some cases, with things like that, we understand the colossal squid to exist, and we understand them to be ferocious predators. It's almost comforting to think that situations like the Mary Celeste could be caused by something so explainable. It's as if we would be fortunate to wrap our heads...
Last time I paused. Oh no, what happened? No, I just
Stop.
muted. Oh
Hold
shit.
it. No.
Okay. Last thing, I just wanted to say, everyone watching, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. I really love the conversation we're having. And yeah, happy to have you guys here.
About the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh,
But
God,
I'll
the
be
Bermuda
honest, it's
Triangle.
like surface level stuff, like compasses work funny here. Like we're down here.
That's literally
And
you.
then past that, we can get into the modern stories of sea monsters being found.
Look, I'm
like,
so
for example,
smart.
in 1848, there was a British naval ship known as the Daedalus. The
Oh,
entire
shit.
crew of the Daedalus attested the same story of seeing a 100-foot-long massive sea serpent off of the side of their ship. They said it slithered along the side of the ship before diving underwater. There are several drawings and depictions put together of what this creature looked like. And if you think for some reason
That
the entire crew
is
was just high
fucking
and had no
horrifying.
idea what they were talking about,
Sea
the
shanty
United
goes
States
hard.
brig known as the Daphne
That is terrifying.
also saw the exact same thing, and they
That's
didn't
basically
only
what
see
is it?
within
Who
the same
said it?
month.
Was it Sarah that said
A
something that was really
100-foot-long
big?
several
That's the
drawings
same
and
thing. That's the same thing, just like a really big one. It's the same exact thing. It's basically a giant eel. It's fucking massive.
But that face is horrifying.
That face?
Get that face.
That face is like the least hair horrifying. He looks confused.
Okay, if you
He looks like you just gave him some really bad information.
If you
and he was like, what am I supposed to do with it?
if you saw that, okay. The next
He was having a really good day and someone told him his dog died. He goes,
if you saw that thing, if
No,
you
yes,
were on a
no,
ship,
that's
if you saw,
terrifying.
I would shit my pants.
that's terrifying. Yes, I'm talking about the face. I'm not talking about how long and girthy he is. I'm talking about the face.
It's a bullworm. From
It's
from
an Alaskan bullworm.
Yeah, from SpongeBob. No, I'd be shitting my pants if I was that dude. I would be like them. I'd be like, kill it now, shoot it down.
That's a
Kill it.
horrible idea. It's
No.
just passing by.
No. I would get everyone together. I'd say, get the cannonballs, get the harpoons.
You are
We're
the
gonna
captain
kill
that
this
gets
thing.
everybody killed. Because what happens when you piss it off? It just ran by. It didn't bother anything. Yeah, it's terrifying. You're gonna interrogate it. You're gonna
Because-
initiate conflict with it because you tried to fucking kill it for
deserved
no
it.
reason.
It deserves it.
Get the bazooka. I don't even think a bazooka would be able to do thing on how big that thing is.
Armless whale? Armless whale?
Sea shanty goes hard.
Do you mean whale without weapons?
Armless whale.
Tale of the Shadow by Sail North is a good shanty.
Or is shanty a song?
Dan, you were talking about evil mythical creatures in the ocean. Okay.
Technically, we're not. Dear God.
Kind of hurt a little bit.
Technically, we're not talking about mythical creatures. We're talking about creatures that could be.
No,
alive.
we're talking about real.
Because these are
shit.
real. These are reports from sailors.
real accounts.
Get the ethanol. Shut the fuck.
Kill it with ethanol. Okay.
And they didn't only see it within the same month. They fired their guns at it and chased it down,
Smart.
saying that it was a giant ocean monster.
I agree.
So you have two different militaries, both full of
Orders,
very
Captain.
experienced
Captain.
crewmen, who one of them shot at it and then tried to run it down. And historians have said that it was probably a whale. I hate that. That makes me more upset than anything.
Yeah, you're
Whenever
gonna
there's a
say
story like
you're gonna
this,
say
people-
that people who literally live in the ocean for their entire fucking lives, you're gonna say they probably saw a whale. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think they sometimes get things mixed up. Yes, but a whale is so fucking common for them. They probably know that it's not a whale. Like, guaranteed. Because they see a lot of crazy shit. And whales are probably one of the most common things that these see, other than, just normal-sized fish, sea bass,
Well,
tunas.
I need to interrupt you for
Also,
just
I
one
did
second.
not know how big tunas was. Holy shit.
If for anyone who hasn't joined our Discord server, I just sent a link. I want you guys to join it if you guys want to. I'm gonna try to plan like a game sesh with everybody. I want to do that sometime soon. Totally random. I just remembered I wanted to
Yeah,
do
he was
that.
doing something over on the other screen. I
Yeah,
just
my
was
bad.
Completely... Barney, welcome to the Sloink Space Station.
He
brother.
joined already. Don't give him an extra congratulations. He joined already.
Now I'm brother.
So yeah. So if you guys haven't already, click that link. Join the Discord server. We're gonna have some game sessions here soon with everybody. Okay. Anyways, what?
Well, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, great.
So thank you. Great.
Shit. Great.
Can't just be like, oh, I guess we'll never know. They give it the stupidest explanation. Like, yeah, 400 experienced crewmen who have, seen every kind of whale imaginable. They were probably just dumber than I am. More recently, during World War
That's my
I,
new
there
thing,
were
apparently.
other stories of ocean monsters being found.
Like
In
fireworks in the
1950, a
house.
German U-boat sank
Okay,
a
just
British
make sure the
ship off
windows are
coast
open.
of Ireland.
Good.
The British ship was holding explosives, and after it went
Bruh.
down
Send a video in the
water,
Schloink.
the explosive blew up, to which the entire crew of the German U-boat said that they saw what they called a 60-foot crocodile get shot out of the water before landing belly up and then sinking underneath. What is a 60-foot crocodile doing off the coast of Ireland? I don't know, and I don't want to know. Maybe it just ate the crew of the Flannan Isles lighthouse. We'll never
Okay,
know.
that's a first. I've heard that story before. But I've heard it was a shark, and there's actually a photo of what looks like a shark, like half of a shark,
Just right there.
blowing up into the air.
Yeah.
And I think they were like 400 yards from it, and the submarine was obviously exploded. This thing looks fucking huge.
Yeah.
In the same war, in 1918,
I feel more
there
and more
was a
justified the
German
more of
U-boat
this
that a
video we
British
watch.
ship came across, to which
What?
I said I feel more and more justified the more video we watch.
the U-boat was just sitting on top of the water and immediately surrendered. After the British brought the Germans on board, the captain of the U-boat had said that they were just going about their day when they were attacked by a massive sea monster that destroyed all of their guns and then made them go to the surface, and they surrendered because they were afraid it may come back. Like, there's groups of people seeing monsters, sure, and then there's an entire submarine surrendering to the enemy because they're scared. So this story...
We didn't even watch the whole thing. We
Listen-
skipped like 20 minutes as well, but also we have to talk because then we could get copyrighted if we just played this video.
No. We're not making excuses. Listen here, Barney.
Like,
No. Listen here, Barney. We're sitting here. We're having intellectual discussion. We're having a good time. All right? So, yeah, we did take 2 hours to watch a 50-minute video because we're having a fucking blast. And I'm offended. You can resume now.
There's
thank you.
groups of people seeing monsters.
I actually love you a lot, Barney. I'm sorry.
That's for sure. And then there's an entire submarine surrendering to the enemy because they're scared. So with stories like this, you may ask yourself, well, where did all these things go? If they were so active and attacking ships for hundreds of years, where did they seemingly just disappear to? Well, one of the more popular theories is the idea of vertical migration. Or in other words, super predators that we know of, like colossal squids, and again that we know of and we're just okay with them existing, they have been known to dive deeper whenever there is increased traffic around their normal grounds. Or at least we've seen other squid do that and can assume the colossal squid does that. We haven't really seen them in the wild, which is even more terrifying. So if we know that smaller fish and creatures in the ocean dive down if there's a bunch of stuff around where they're at, then what's to say that these massive super predators wouldn't do the same with increased traffic along waters? In 2003, a group of researchers pinned a tag on a great white shark which was about 9 feet long. The purpose of this was to observe migration routes and where the shark went along its journey. However, years later, they found the tag just washed up on shore somewhere. This was weird, so whenever they analyzed the tag, which is pretty much a black box, they could see that the shark was just going about his day before immediately getting sucked to 1,600 feet below sea level at breakneck speeds, way faster than something a great white shark can pull off diving straight down, implying that something took said shark and then brought it down to where the big boys play at. I spoke of something in my conspiracy theory iceberg series known as the ocean at night theory. Short version is essentially they made this giant thermal reactor and set it on the ocean as a means of cooling it, but what it accidentally caused was a bunch of super predators to swim up to the surface, which led to a theoretically like Cthulhu-sized creature attacking a group of researchers and militaries, which is comforting. But if massive creatures, and some of which we know to exist, have gone underwater in order to get away from us, then what's to say they can't get the courage to come back up? There's ships such as the USS Scorpion, which is an American submarine that completely...
Wait, is he talking about like that's a story?
That's like a real thing.
Or that's a thing? They actually put a nuclear reactor at the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah.
That's a great...
They detonate nuclear bombs in the ocean all of the time.
Not anymore.
Yeah, we did it fucking 3 months ago.
No, that wasn't a nuclear bomb.
That was a nuclear fucking bomb.
Fucking not nuclear. It was a hydrogen bomb. He's even typing in all caps.
Didn't even do it all caps.
It was a hydrogen bomb and a nuclear bomb are completely different. A hydrogen bomb does not leave any fallout. I hope everybody knows that. We can stop fucking worrying about the apocalypse happening because we set off nuclear bombs and caused like a fallout like S type apocalypse. No, we use hydrogen bombs, which are even more devastating than a nuclear bomb with no fallout, which is, I guess,
Okay,
better.
1958. Point is, that was still not that long
The
ago.
last confirmed underwater nuclear bomb test was conducted by the United States on July 22nd, 1958. Yes, and ever since then, are you talking about the video that went viral all over Instagram and TikTok and Facebook of them setting up a massive bomb like 2 years ago in the water to test out the new ships?
Yeah.
And okay, yeah, that's not a nuclear bomb.
That was a
that's not a
massive-
fucking.
that was-
That's not a nuclear bomb.
That was
It's
a
just
massive
a fucking. That's a
bomb.
landmine.
That was not a
Not a
landmine.
landmine. There's a fucking sea mine. Not even a sea mine. But yes, it's not.
That was massive.
Yes, but it wasn't a nuclear bomb.
That engulfed like 3 Navy vessels.
Yes, but it wasn't a nuclear bomb. We don't use nuclear bombs anymore
listen,
because they're not
listen.
as good as hydrogen bombs.
That was
and
still-
that wasn't even a hydrogen bomb. It was probably like a fucking 5,000-pound bomb that they used.
That's still insane.
That is, but it's not nuclear.
disappeared in 1968 before pieces were
love
found
you.
that shredded
Fuck
at the bottom
you.
of the ocean, about 9,000.
I wanna
feet
take
down.
Barney's
And it
bazooka and
itself
shoot you
was
with it.
only one of 4 submarines that
Got a bazooka in
completely
the other
went
room we can
missing
use.
in 1968. There are more famous things such as the bloop, which was an underwater sound that was
I hate the
recorded
bloop.
across microphones about 3,000 miles apart, implying that whatever made the noise was way bigger than anything currently on
You know what
the
the
books.
explanation of
As
that
well
is? Sea ice capsules.
Yeah, which is insane.
as all your general horrors about the ocean. There are countless stories of sailors who had spent long time at sea, seeing the ghosts
Does
of
he
people
show
walk
the
across
bloop?
their ships, or stories of men who sit on the back of the ships at night.
Oh,
while they
Atlantis.
can hear singing from somewhere out across the waters.
Okay, I don't think he shows bloop. But have you guys ever even heard the bloop?
Please tell me. Everyone, whoever's in chat, just say yes or no. Have you heard of the bloop? Quit skimming, cheater.
I just wanted to see if they play the
Every
bloop.
single time someone says something like that, it's just like, it sounds like a slur.
I want,
Yes,
I want
okay.
you guys to hear the bloop. Bloop. The bloop sound.
I'm about to go bloop right now.
Are you going poop right now?
No.
No. Okay. All right. The one no is all I needed. Bloop, a mysterious sound of the ocean. No. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna play this. This is the bloop. Okay. This sound was recorded in the ocean, and it was the span of 3,000 miles. It was a noise so loud that it just crossed so far. It's just a glacier. No, it's not, Barney. It's not. I refuse. Okay, all right. I'm gonna play it right now. That was the bloop once. Okay, yeah. So, like, when you're hearing it, it sounds like just a normal bloop, right? Under the water. Sounds like my tummy after dairy. It is. Sierra, it actually is. That's the recording this was. The mystery has been solved. It's because it was so loud and recorded over just an insane distance where it could be heard from so far away is what makes it hard to believe. That's what makes it so insane. So, yes, there is a theory that it wasn't like ice caps melting, but that is still insanely loud. That had to have been the loudest, hugest ice cap ever. How'd you find that recording? Sierra, I don't know if you knew, but it has made you famous. So yeah. Anyways, all right, let's keep going.
When you think of the number of people that have died in the ocean, and if you're someone who believes in the idea of haunted locations, how could there not be a more haunted and infested poltergeist than the seas themselves? There's also stories like the island of Bemaha, which is off the coast of Mexico and just disappeared. Like, this island had been charted on maps ever since the 16th century. It was a known fact that the island was right there off of the Yucatan Peninsula, and everyone knew about it, and it was even marked as recently as 1921. Then in 1997, whenever Mexico was making land deals with the United States, they said that they wanted that island, and
Also,
whenever they
Lucas,
went
like-
to like put a stake on it, they couldn't find it, and they're like, huh, that's weird.
Huh?
We should probably look into that. So then in
Pause
2009, they
it.
launched a full
My hair is very flowy today. Look at my hair.
Barty said we should watch an entire season of the Teletubbies. Dude, the Teletubbies is a whole acid trip.
I've actually wanted to do that.
We can watch one episode of the Teletubbies.
No, not right now.
Why not? Everyone vote. Do you want me to end this video and have us watch one episode of the Teletubbies?
No.
Everyone vote.
Also, the bloop that you hear is like, what, 2 or 3 seconds? It's like bloop.
Yeah.
But that's it sped up like 10 times.
Yeah,
it's actually like
I explained it to everyone already. No. One episode. No. Ryan, let's watch a horror movie.
I'm down. What horror movie?
No. Danny, your Beth Booth doesn't count.
What is that?
Is this the...
Real bloop voice?
The real bloop voice.
You gotta control C to copy it. You can't.
Terrifier 3. We are not watching Terrifier on
Dude,
stream.
Terrifier is a. Oh.
We would get.
I tried
in
watching the
so
first
much
one,
trouble.
and man, that was.
All right, Raph, you got me. You got me, pal.
Silence of the Lambs.
You got me, Raph. You're right. That is it. Honestly, I'm shocked. That's insane.
That's crazy.
Full-scale search for this island, to which they determined that after hundreds of years, it just doesn't exist. Which, when you think of the ocean as being so massive that
This dude
things like
very famous
islands can
Turkey
just
5
be
months
there
ago.
and then they can't, that is awful, and I hate it. But the seas are not only horrific for the
Well,
missing
the seas
persons that I've
rise,
talked about
though,
earlier,
so,
and ocean monsters and ghosts and things of the like, but in a
Right.
purely physical sense, they are a testament to the uselessness of humanity. Concepts such as the island of Atlantis, which it's believed by many modern historians that perhaps it was a city that sunk beneath the waves off the coast of Greece, have always stuck with people
Or
because
by a
ideas of
great
something
flood.
as important as a city to us being completely overtaken by the waves in nature is almost appalling. Whenever I think of tales like Atlantis, it reminds me of a post-apocalypse, the idea of nature reclaiming what man built no matter how much effort we put into it. There's a specific horror associated with the ocean, which I have in small spurts, known as submechanophobia, which is the fear of man-made structures beneath the water.
I don't
The reason
have that.
This is so
I
terrifying. to me
agree.
Is
I don't
because
have
it
Just quick to Sierra. I agree. They need to ban Human Centipede. That is a
honestly
horrible movie.
encapsulates everything that I've talked about up until
We
this
should do a
point.
Human
And that
Centipede
is
movie
the
night.
idea of the ocean.
Reaction.
having
We can't show it.
No. Like,
regard
we'll just get
for
everyone
you.
in the
Think
Discord
about
server.
this.
We'll just
Any
watch
other
it.
scenario,
Without
being
streaming it?
lost
Without
in the
streaming.
But
woods,
stream our faces.
being
No,
stuck
we
in the
won't
middle of the
stream it.
desert,
It'll just be for the
whatever.
Discord
You
servers.
still have your legs, you still have your sight, you still have the ability to move. However, the ocean does not care that we are in no way adapted to it, and that any second that we spend in it without some man-made creation is completely at its mercy. But in the same regard, the ocean doesn't really care about our understanding of it. It seems in a sort of mystic way.
The fact
with
that you
stories like
watched the
Planet
whole
Isles
movie-
Lighthouse, or the crew of
Yeah, the
Mary
fact that there's
Celeste,
3 of them and
that
they get
people can
bigger
simply be
and
plucked
bigger
off the earth
and
we're
bigger
never given an explanation
movie.
otherwise. But not only does the ocean not care about you or it care about our reasoning, it doesn't care about our monuments either. Whenever you look at images of submechanophobia and you see these great things that we built, however big or small, sentimental or otherwise, and you see them beneath the water, there's this destitute sense of something being forgotten. It's like no matter what level of sentimental nature
that's
we
crazy.
apply to something, as always, the ocean
just see
just
a
doesn't
giant
care.
mouth
And it
right
almost
behind
creates
us.
this sort of weird liminal space that while we're looking at it and we want there to be some sense of cherishness or memory or just something sacred,
It
there
literally
isn't
gives me the
any.
shivers.
Roughly
I hate
9%
that.
of
I hate
species
seeing that
within
shit
the
so
ocean
much.
are officially logged as to where they fit onto a larger tree, and about 20% of the ocean is charted. That means 80% of the single largest body on the entire planet is a complete mystery, as with many of the events
That's
that take place on and
crazy.
within
That
it.
is
Within
insane.
the Marianas Trench, it is so deep that you can take the entirety of Mount Everest, put it at the bottom, and you would still have a mile to go before you reach surface. Think about
That's-
that. The single largest thing that we can comprehend and the largest structure that we could ever imagine on land.
Poor black
The ocean will
sailors.
take all of it and bury it so deep that we would never have known otherwise if it had done so in the first place. And this is what I meant by the beginning, that it is so absolutely terrifying that there's almost a romance to it. It is wrong in every
Fuck
single
that.
sense that something
Fuck that.
That's what you hate.
It's inhuman.
That's what you
it's
hate.
I hate
unreasonable,
that.
and
Hold
it's
on,
unfair.
I'm covering it. This is what that picture. Oh shit!
What are you doing?
I'm fuck. I was trying to show our face. We're covering
Here,
it.
here. I got you. Ready? It's this easy. This simple. Where's the cam? Boom.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
what
that.
Taylor
That-
hates.
I hate
Taylor
that.
hates that shit
That's
so
horrifying.
much.
I hate that. Ugh. Ah.
And it's for that reason I love stories so much of men who brave the seas and sailors and skippers and everyone else who go out into that infinite nothingness.
Technologia.
Like, there's people who think that space is scary.
I agree.
I mean, you can see in space. In the ocean, it's quite literally infinite nothingness, and it doesn't even give you the courtesy of being allowed to see the infinite. And that's what's
That's
so tearing
true.
about the
That
idea
is
of
I never
absolute
thought about it like
abyss
that.
all around you.
And
Whenever
something
I
could
tell
be
someone
20
I'm
feet
afraid
from
of the
you, you wouldn't
ocean,
be
a
able to
lot
tell.
of them have a follow-up of, oh, do you not like sharks? Or, oh, do you not like
sea
insert
sludge.
some other generic creepy animal? And as a matter of fact, something like sharks would be comforting. Because while it would be terrifying if, I was in the water and about to die, for sure, if I'm
hungry,
in the
Danny?
water and I see something like a shark, that is something tangible, something I can comprehend. But the idea of just a foreverness that won't even give me the courtesy of seeing, standing, or breathing within it, that's more horrific than I could ever imagine. And yet I don't have
I
to
agree.
imagine it because it's right there and it's as real and as terrible as it possibly could be. For Halloween, I wanted to talk about something scary, and there is nothing more
So I got a
scary to
question
me
for you.
than the concept of the
I got a question for everybody. How big does something have to be for you not to be able to comprehend it? Like, how big does it have to be for you to see it and be like, your brain cannot comprehend how large that truly is?
Dude, for me, I feel like it's not much. Like, for me, yeah, the universe, I can see that. But here's the... I can't even handle being next
moose
to...
size? Moose are fucking massive.
Standing under your mother's size. Just standing next to, like, a passenger plane, right? It gives me anxiety. Just because
Of how big it is.
it's fucking huge.
Have you stood next to it? Have you actually seen an aircraft carrier in person?
No. But seeing those things fly, I've seen them fly. And that
Aircraft
literally
carriers?
gives me... I think so.
Aircraft carriers.
What's the giant plane we saw in Seattle?
C-17.
The massive one where it like carries tanks and shit.
C-17.
Okay, yeah, that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I thought that's what you were talking about. Like that, just
No,
seeing
aircraft
that fly in
carriers are
space
what the...
freaks me. Fly in space, fly in the air, freaks me out. Yeah, that's what we saw.
Yeah, this is what we saw when we were going to Seattle one time. We saw it take off and it was flying.
we saw
over.
that.
And Taylor his mind was blown. All right, so how big is this size? Size comparison. All right. What to commercial jet? Sure. Yeah. See, in a C-17, I don't even think a C-17 is the largest one. They have a bigger one, but I forget what that one's called. C-17. So this is. Yeah, that's the size of the engine standing next to it.
That's crazy.
All right. Let me look up what the. Go ahead and keep talking.
Sierra, a moose is fucking massive. They're way bigger than I even thought. It's like two of me. And I'm like 5'12", 5'11". Not 5'12", 5'11". What?
Moose stand at like 9 feet tall.
Yeah, that's why I just said like two of me.
Okay.
It's about two of me. I'm almost
For
6
some
foot.
reason, I was thinking of like size wise, and I was like, no, those things are girthier.
You know
than
what's massive? I'm sensing a punchline. What's massive, Sierra?
If it's a punchline, I'm gonna punch him.
What? No, what? Punch her. She's the one making the joke.
I think the United States has the largest aircraft carrier.
That as... Okay, alright, you guys. You're so funny.
Aircraft size comparison to human.
Man, why can't a guy get a good, decent size comparison going over here? You know what I mean?
I know, these are all not that very great.
That is horrifying. I hate that so much.
You don't realize how big aircraft carriers truly are until you actually stand next to
That's
one. Going next to one.
insane.
You launch planes. And that's the part where the plane takes off, so that's the smallest part.
Yeah,
The bigger part is back here.
that's insane.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in person.
You can go to Seattle or something.
I'm afraid of giant things. I'm definitely that.
like one of those towboats going right next to it. That's actually a pretty small one. That's not a very big one.
Oh, and I think it has to do with my fear of heights too.
The biggest
I
aircraft
think
carriers.
they're like connected.
is it the Nimitz? I don't remember if it's a Nimitz or not, but there's a certain class of aircraft carriers that are so large that they're literally their own class, and they use one nuclear powered engine, but they're trying. I think right now.
Is it small? No, it's not small.
You want to see how big it is? That's how big it is. Is that small?
That's
to
a
you?
person.
That's a person in a kayak, and I don't even think that's the biggest one. But I think right now they're actually trying to develop an aircraft carrier so large that it takes 2 nuclear power.
That's insane.
Two
Just the
nuclear
fact-
things. 2 nuclear.
You know what's
engines.
small? Sierra, I've had it with you. I have had it.
I'm not even comment. I'm not gonna even comment. I'm not gonna say anything because my brain is going to like really bad places that aren't safe for streams.
My mom?
Your mom's.
Would you rather be on the Titanic on April 15th, 1912? Or Tenerife
What?
airport disaster on March 27th, 1977? How about neither? I would rather be on neither of those things.
Oh no.
I'll be right here.
Oh
Ryan, come on, do it just this once.
no. No, because we can get in trouble. And
And
I know whatever I say, I'm just gonna fucking hear it from Taylor for the next 2 days. And he's just gonna bully me. So I don't say shit like that.
Okay, I'll put you on Apollo 13 then. You can put me like
Maybe over message.
like
We'll see.
300, maybe like 100 miles away from.
Okay, here's a
Apollo
great
13.
comparison. All right, aircraft carriers, at least I think it's the Nimitz, is so large, you can have a whole fucking community live on it. A community, it houses thousands of sailors, right?
Are we
And the
talking
deck
like-
is so large, you can grow agriculture.
Are we talking like helicarrier size from the Avengers?
Those are bigger. Those are bigger than the
Oh, okay.
Nimitz. Those are also not real. But I know that they
You're
did have like
drifting
design
dead
for
in
it.
the middle of space.
100 miles away from Apollo 13. Okay, you are drifting dead in the middle.
Not
of space.
not up, Barney.
Oh fuck.
Okay, well, I think we'll probably wrap it up. What do you think?
Only 2 hours. Go
Yeah,
away.
only 2 hours. We got shit to do.
That's true. I got to go pick up a coworker and take him to work.
Yeah, we got things to do, places to be. It's the 4th. Hey, everyone needs to go out and party
Go
it
watch
up.
some fireworks if you can.
Party it up.
Go party.
Woohoo! Yeah. What?
I'm not partying tonight. I don't
So
have anyone to party with.
what's big is my appetite today. I gotta go to the ISS. All right, everybody.
What you want? What? Never mind.
Okay. All right, everyone. Keep an eye out on the Discord. I think I want to plan a game day sometime soon. So if you guys want to be a part of that, keep an eye on the Discord. I'll put a message out and we'll get something set up. It's night in here. I just play game. Do it. Play it up. I'm alone. Well, you're never alone. I love you, Dandy. I'm with you, my friend. Anyways, happy 4th of July to everyone here in America, outside of America. Happy day to you. Raph, happy night. Good night. I hope you have a great night.
Wait, Rye, send me a Discord link.
I think I sent it in the
Here, try
chat
again.
already.
You already have a copy.
I know. Huh. Do I?
You can't.
No, that's the YouTube link.
Nope, that's.
Hold on, I'll send it. I'll send it again. Give me. a
He's
minute.
about to send it.
Oh yeah, Sierra, you just got a PC, didn't you?
No, that was Sarah. No, Sierra did just get a
Sierra.
PC. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sierra got a PC. Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna plan a game night. It's in the works right now. So
Well, that's if she's not at work.
yeah,
But it also won't be a. It'll probably be.
I can't get in the
weekend.
Discord. Why? Try again with this link. Let's see if it works.
Is it one of those that you have to invite?
It shouldn't. Should
Should
work.
be open.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, you have to be invited, but
Our Discord is. We're still building it up. There's not a whole lot to do on it, but it's mostly used if we're getting online or if there's a delay or if we have an announcement. That's what we use to announce everything before we go live. So
Or
if you
if-
guys ever want to keep up to date of what's going on or what we might have
just wanna
planned
chat.
ahead,
there's
that's where we-
Sierra.
There's
We got
Sierra. We got Sierra in. Hello, hello.
Raph, make sure to let us know if it worked. We'll try to help you out.
Dandy boy. Oh my god.
Hey! So yeah, we don't really have... Never mind, I'll keep that to myself.
What?
No, let's finish it later. But anyways, yeah, I'm thinking we might get a little Marvel Rivals going. Maybe some Minecraft. Well, we'll do something fun. So,
We'll do something really
anyways.
fun. Don't worry.
Anyways, we're going to wrap it up. Have a good night, everybody. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. Make sure to check out our TikTok, our Instagram. Appreciate all of you.
Have a happy 4th of July, and remember, be safe. Don't do anything stupid.
No
Enjoy
Schlink
the
Show.
night.
No Schlink Show this weekend. The Schlink Show will be back.
At some point. We don't know when.
It says expired, but I can solve. Okay, all right.
Expired already?
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is a new one.
We just sent that. Bamerica.
Barmerica. All right. Peace out, everybody. If you can't figure it out by the next time we see you, Raph, we'll help you out.
We'll send you another one. Have a good night, guys.